Hello and welcome to Gentlemen Discussing Videos / Ladies Brunch Club. I'm Catsman and we're in my basement. With me today, going counterclockwise, is Ha Ha. That's an actual person. That's not just me going Ha Ha. Mooglepies.
It's dark in here and it's cold and wet.
And you can't leave.
Help, send help.
I boarded up the only window. We got Shiny.
Hello.
We got Specs.
Yo.
We got the Animitch, world famous internet anime reviewer.
I'm here. Hi.
So I've just got some stuff stored up. So do you
Same, dude.
Yeah. So, you don't want to rub one out underneath the Sonic the Hedgehog blanket, do you? It would feel
3
sacrilegious
days
somehow.
without jerking it.
It's like carrying a loaded gun at this point.
Luckily, I don't have anything
Anything
stored
can
up
set me
anymore.
off.
The kebab took care of that.
My first item of the day is this.
What's that?
I can't see.
This is
Storm Entertainment Diana, Princess of Wales tribute for $2.99.
So-
Is this on Steam?
No, this is a PS4 theme. So for $2.99, if you own a PS4, you can download a Diana, Princess of Wales tribute PS4 theme.
Is it just that?
The main page is a crudely drawn picture of Diana, Princess
Here's
of
the
Wales.
thing about this, though. I actually bought and downloaded this, but now my PS4 crashes.
That's too soon, Mitch.
No, it's not too soon.
Someone's not being invited to the Royal Variety performance this year.
Ready the guillotines! So that's what the main screen looks like. You can see it's just Diana wringing her hands.
I like
and
the
then-
fact that all of the stuff that you actually look at is obscuring her face and her boobs are just underneath it.
Just there's a dramatically large amount of cleavage considering,
Yeah.
isn't there, really?
How much cleavage is it appropriate to draw on an image of a dead woman?
More than you'd think.
Yeah, the maximum
That's not
possible amount is the only...
Who profits from this?
it's just some company called the Powell Group.
Oh.
Oh, there. I mean, is Diana, Princess of Wales, your ideal anime babe?
Prince Harry needs a source of revenue now, so...
I don't think Prince Harry is selling this.
Did this happen before he...
Yeah, this is really old. I've
Are
been
there any user reviews?
I've been sitting on this. It has 1 rating, which is 5 stars. Unfortunately, no user reviews.
I don't think there are user reviews on PS Plus.
Well, probably because there'd be a bunch of people like, why is there a Princess Diana theme? Does Princess Diana know?
Are there any other royal family?
Or, like, presidents?
Saddam Hussein?
Okay, are there any other royal family that people like?
The Queen.
The Queen.
Snow White.
Queen Mother.
The Queen Mother is dead.
No, she's not.
Yes,
How much
she is
cleavage do
dead.
you reckon she's got out in hers?
She's not dead.
The Queen Mother's
Do you
dead.
remember
Queen
Saturday
Mother
morning
was
cartoons
dead.
being interrupted?
Queen Mother's been dead a
She'd
long
be like
time.
Dead.
30 years old.
To be fair,
Who's the Queen Mother again?
the
That's the Queen's
the
mum.
mother
No!
of the Queen.
We call her the Queen Mother. Where's the 2p
The
coin?
mother of the Queen.
No!
Is the Queen Mother. The Queen is the Queen.
No, she.
two
the
mothers
Queen
here. To be a mother?
because she's all our mothers.
The Queen.
No,
the
she
Queen.
no.
She
The
is.
Queen's
Don't
name is
listen to
Auntie
her,
Liz.
Mr.
You fool.
No, Queen Mother, and she's right here.
What does it say? It probably just says Elizabeth.
1998.
It just says Elizabeth.
No, it doesn't. It says It gives us our registration number.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so-
if we had to place Princess Diana in the power ranking of Disney princesses,
Of dead
where would she
princesses.
fall?
She couldn't.
Disney princess.
She
Disney,
couldn't
yeah.
do anything, dude.
Yeah.
She
What
went
did
to
she
some
do?
places with landmines and she raised money.
All
She was
Disney
a
actually.
humanitarian.
Most Disney princesses aren't humanitarian. They just want to solve
They're
their own.
quite selfish.
They want to, well, they start off wanting to solve their own problems, and then they realise that there is some kind of greater problem that they have to solve, and then they solve it.
Like Snow White, she cleaned that guy's house.
Maybe not Snow White is the best example.
Like Cinderella, she cleaned that guy's house. Belle, she cleaned that guy's house.
No, she didn't.
She didn't.
Anastasia, she cleaned that auditorium.
Anastasia's
Anastasia's
not
not
a
a Disney
Disney princess.
princess.
For Disney, yeah.
Fucking Anastasia. That was after Don Bluth lost his mind.
Yeah.
Tiana definitely cleaned.
No, she was a cook.
Yeah, but she cleaned up that place that she bought.
That was her house.
No.
She bought a restaurant and
Well,
she cleaned it.
she's not going to beat up Mulan. That much is clear.
Yeah.
Mulan had to do cleaning as part of her training.
Yeah, she's not going to beat her up though, is she? I mean,
Why is
Mulan's
that
going to win.
cleaning?
What cleaning did she do?
She
And
cleaned
what's
that pole.
You know, but
What's
why?
she do?
We're talking
why-
about power
why are we
rankings. You
talking
don't
about
just have to
cleaning?
be able to clean. You have
Oh,
to be
sorry.
able to
Cleaning
do
is very.
power.
Have you not seen fucking
I don't
The Karate Kid? Wax on,
I
wax
don't
off.
think Diana is an all-rounder. I think she'd probably work as like a diplomat, but I don't think, she couldn't punch someone.
She's better than Brave.
I didn't watch Brave.
She is a
If you
princess.
had
now.
a chance to change your fate,
Ah, no.
would you?
So Brave is a shit film, but Merida is a good princess.
What's good about her?
She
turned her mum into a bear.
Shouldn't mean to.
People who also bought the Diana Princess of Wales
Did you need
theme,
to check your notes?
Be interested in?
they bought Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Madden NFL 20,
There we go.
and Minecraft.
Minecraft.
What?
This is the strangest Venn diagram I've ever seen.
It's a very strange diagram.
Cool.
We need more data points.
That's the end of that. Someone else tell me something.
Okay, I'm going to give you a list of things and you can tell me that you don't want to talk about them.
Yeah,
As
I love this
always.
list.
Does anyone want to talk about Warcraft 3 Reforged, which sounds like a clusterfuck? Does anyone care about World of Warcraft?
I mean, I do, but I recognise that there's not much to talk about. It's a clusterfuck, and that's about the size of it.
Other people have said it better than I ever could.
Okay.
I would just say it louder.
I mean,
I just think it's really, really funny that you can't get the original version
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Because that's what you said to me the other day. Like, you
Yeah,
can only
so
get the remake.
You can only get the remake.
Legally.
If you own the original one, it has now transformed into the new version on your Blizzard account, and you can't get the old one back. And you presumably you can't refund it
Yeah.
because you already owned the original one.
so I guess there's two things that are worth pointing out here. Number one, pirates win again!
Yeah.
And the second is they decided to make the main menus in Chromium,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
consume huge amounts of CPU usage and run at like a negative frame rate.
Yes,
Good
and
stuff.
basically
good
everything
fun.
they have done has just like they haven't really remastered anything. The new menus are worse. They haven't remastered any of the cinematics. The new models don't really look that good. So you're basically paying for an inferior product.
It looks like they've basically done a straight swap on the basis that it will be better, and they've pissed off people who wanted to keep playing it because they now can't play it at the same quality as before, and they've pissed off people who were going to buy it because they thought it would be very good, like the StarCraft remake,
Yeah.
and it isn't.
And they said they were going to remaster the cutscenes and they didn't.
Yeah.
And there's a big agreement you've got to sign before you make it that if you make any custom maps or game types, then they are belonging to Blizzard, not to yourself. Because Dota came from Warcraft 3 and they don't own the rights to that because they didn't have anything like that.
Once again, pirates win.
Yeah.
Can't play some of the maps either because there's a censor filler on it. Like Booty Bay, I think is one of the maps called. Booty is a censored word, so you can't play that one, even though it's official.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
This sounds like a you.
It's
fact.
a real fact.
Okay, well, I'll half believe
If
you.
we turn this into Pirates Win, Monster Hunter's had a Pirates Win episode recently.
What was it?
The Monster Hunter episode of Pirates Win overpaying customers is that Monster Hunter Iceborne shipped with anti-cheat that effectively ran 24 CPU threads at the same time. And this is my understanding of it, either CPU threads or CPU processors to effectively max out your CPU usage. So effectively, if you changed the main thread, there were 24 checking it at the same time to make sure that you didn't do that. The people who were pirating and or cheating immediately disabled all of them and freed up about 30% CPU usage on a recommended set, increasing frame rate and performance. They then decided a week after release to completely disable those 24 threads, so it is now back to the original anti-cheat method, which was already bypassed anyway. So it took cheats and pirates a day to work around the problem.
The
and
game
they
isn't
still have.
overwhelmingly competitive, though, is it?
It's not a competitive game at all. There is no competition in it. It's purely a PvE experience.
There's not really much point in adding too robust anti-cheat to that, is there?
It's just there to force you to extend your playtime within it.
Yeah. Coming back to Warcraft, Blizzard's just been having fuck up after fuck up with the like Blitzchung thing and all the sort of Hong Kong protest stuff. And
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they announced Overwatch 2 and everyone went fucking ballistic for it.
Have you heard of Days Gone?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember Days Gone.
That was
Yeah.
that zombie video
Yeah.
game. that
PS4
was,
exclusive.
It was in development for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Made by the same people who made Bubsy 3D.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was going to say is it looked like shit in every preview. It was made by the same.
When I first saw it, I thought it looked quite
No,
It was
like ass.
No,
it was
didn't.
made
It
by
looked
the same
interesting.
people who did Bubsy 3D. Sony closed Studio Liverpool, and yet they didn't close the studio that made this, even though they at least, in fact, I think they fully own the studio that make this.
They
sold
do.
more,
Like
right?
it's sold,
It's sold a
but,
lot.
like that's
There you
like,
go.
I think you fail upwards in the video game industry.
My next thing is...
Specs.
I want to talk about delays, because every game under the sun has been delayed this year.
Good.
My list is Doom Eternal,
Uh-huh.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cyberpunk 2077, Animal Crossing, Marvel's Iron Man VR, Avengers, the new game,
I'm sure that'll be great.
Watch Dogs Legion.
I'm sure that'll be
We
great.
just had a delay for...
We don't
Yeah, we don't know if the Resident Evil 3 one's correct.
Is this a good thing?
Yes.
I think
Absolutely.
delays lead to more crunch.
They do.
Yeah.
Why
so-
would delays lead to more crunch?
Because they do.
Because people are like, oh shit, the game's already behind schedule, we can't release it, we'll delay it, and then everyone will just work 7 days a week, 40 hours a day.
So
until
you
it's
get
finished.
2 months of crunch rather than 1 month.
Games,
Not only that, because the game is eternally about to be released, you're never out of that crunch period. If a game keeps getting delayed, the developers keep going into crunch.
We're
So
now...
Animal Crossing has only had the one delay,
Yes.
and it was quite a significant one.
It was.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of thing, where it's like, okay, actually we need about another half a year, that probably doesn't have the same kind of thing. Better that than to be like, oh no, let's just release it and it's just absolutely terrible with having a crunch as well.
I think that Lawyer Guy Defender of Justice will be out before the Final Fantasy VII Remake is finished. Not before the first part of it comes out, but before they finish the whole game.
Well-known and renowned video game developer Shiggy M. Diggy
Yeah.
once said, "A game is shit unless you delay it." he said, "A rushed game is not great, and a game that you delay is eventually good." Is he right, and why didn't he delay Wind Waker?
He didn't delay
Because Wind Waker was perfect
Wind-
They
anyway.
didn't
Wind Waker
do-
isn't
no,
perfect.
isn't perfect.
Wind Waker should be longer, and I wanted that extra development time for a couple of extra dungeons.
What else did he do? He didn't delay Star Fox on the Wii U.
Star Fox Zero.
He's,
That was just... Star Fox can never have enough content because it's a
He-
short
No,
ass
but it
game.
was shit though.
he
was
is
alright,
completely
shit.
full of shit for that though, because Skyward Sword was delayed by what, over a year, 18 months?
And it was a
the
turd.
worst Zelda game they've ever made.
That we are currently within almost visual distance of my Zelda Skyward Sword Collector's Edition Wii Remote with Wii Motion Plus built into
I
it.
touched it today.
That's
He's
the only
touched
good thing
it.
about Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
Right.
that was a damn fine Wiimote, and it also came with a game.
It's great remote.
Came with a paper plate.
Yeah.
So you reckon delays are just going to cause a longer period of crunch? When
Yeah.
Nintendo delayed Animal Crossing, they said this is specifically so that we don't crunch.
Yeah, because it was...
Did they
Yeah.
say that?
They did.
They did.
That's interesting.
Final
Because they-
Fantasy VII has had 2 delays now, and this one is like a month's delay, which is definitely crunch.
I don't know,
time.
like,
That-
the thing is, right,
Okay, you go first.
every time I watch a behind the scenes about the making of a Japanese video game, they go into the offices and the developer walks up and he's like, you know, here's my pictures of artwork from the game, and here's my cup, and here's the break room, and this is where I sleep, and then they point on the floor below their desk.
This is what I was going to say. Just because they've said specifically they're not going to crunch, that sounds like something to appease Western fans
Yeah.
who don't necessarily understand that Japanese work practices are you will stay in this fucking cubicle for 20 hours a day and you will not leave. And you will be here 6 days a week because that's the way that this works.
I mean, that,
You wouldn't know anything about that.
No,
would you?
I always work exactly the correct amount of hours I'm scheduled to work.
I work less.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you steal hours of work from your employer, or do you... That was the whiteboard, I think.
Yeah.
Do you steal work from your employer by taking really long to take a dump at work?
Yeah,
or do
shitting
you...
on the
No,
clock.
I don't take a lunch break.
No.
I don't go to the bathroom.
You've got to shit on the clock.
What do you mean you don't go to the bathroom?
I
And
can't
you-
sit in the toilet.
Why don't you go to the bathroom?
And you
when
also
you're at
need
work?
I
to
don't
take
need
a
to.
dump.
What do you mean you don't need to?
I'm
On a
focused so
timepiece.
hard on work, I don't need to eat.
Does that mean you just shut down?
I
at work?
specifically wait
Yeah.
until my lunch break
That's
is finished to
professional.
go to the bathroom.
Buy that for Graham's
actually?
car. Buy
Yeah.
shit on
It's-
company dime.
No, it's pronounced. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's
That's
why I buy a new carburetor for Graham's car on company dime.
That's why I shit in his train pipe on company time.
Oh, shit in his engine
Sorry,
exhaust,
shit
or
his
shit in
Okay.
his... Shit in his radiator coil.
So-
that's the best one.
Crunch.
If you're Graham, if you're listening to this, why are you listening to this?
Graham, we miss
Graham,
you.
come
Come
back
back.
to us.
And also, please
I'm-
return to the
I'm
Discord
talking to
server.
the actual Graham and not Graham's car right now.
I guess everyone knew it happened, but it became a big deal for some reason.
People
and
started
so,
talking about it.
yeah, people are now trying to appease fans by saying, we know crunch, when they probably still are.
I don't think it's as big a thing as it's made out to be. I think that a couple of news outlets, several mainstream gaming news outlets decided to do pieces on it, and some of the enthusiast segment of the market wrote notes like they gave a shit. I don't think it matters a single thing whether companies crunch or not.
I'm going to point to each of you and you tell me yes or no, do you give a shit whether a company crunches to get a video game out?
I don't like it, but it happens and I'm going to buy video games.
Yes. You care?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want people to work too much, even though I do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the risks.
I won't buy a product that I know people have suffered to make, but I will pirate
Art
it.
is suffering.
We'll pirate it.
Yes.
You care?
Yeah, I'm in no rush to get a game. If it's going to come out, it's going to come out, and people who are rushing and frantically working to get it out as quickly as possible aren't going to do as much good a job.
It's bad to
Like
work
recorders.
people to death to make video games. It's not worth it.
In today's current market, if you heard a game had crunch and then came out, would you buy it?
If it was a game I was interested in, yes.
I do care. I had a line of thought and then
I think the principle of the of the thing specs is not that it's not our responsibility to buy games that haven't had crunch. Voting with your wallet doesn't work. It's people who work in the video game industry's responsibility to unionize and then collectively bargain such that they only work for a certain number of hours a year, like, I don't know, actors do, for example.
So I do care, and obviously it would be ideal if there wasn't crunch. Like Mitch said, I don't mind waiting longer for a game to make sure there is less crunch at all. I would happily wait over a year longer for a game.
Like Shiggy M. Diggy said, if you give a game more time, it will probably be better, unless you give it too much time.
Then
it'll
just
fall
Yeah,
apart.
no, there are lots of... I've played a lot of overcooked
It's like
games.
a cake, you know?
Yeah.
You don't leave a cake in for too long, and you don't...
I didn't understand before you gave me the cake analogy.
Food analogies are good. From a personal perspective, my favourite game of the last 5 years was, I'm mentioning it again,
Hollow
because it's
Knight.
exactly made by 3 people in Australia running away from spiders while they were doing it. And they didn't crunch, because there's 4 of them. Why are they going to crunch? I don't think they
No,
crunch.
indie developers
deadlines
crunch
as
a
well.
lot.
I mean, they delayed the game consistently, and they're delaying the next game consistently, I'm assuming,
they
to
delayed
avoid
it
crunch.
predictably.
One thing about
We'll see.
deadlines, though, is it can make a team
Focus.
it can make a team focus. I think Hideki Kamiya is one person I've heard, if they're not focused, then a game goes to shit. Beautiful Joe, in particular, is one that he had no idea what he was doing until his boss came down on him and said, fucking get your act together and make a game, and he had to stop playing with ideas and just make a game.
Oh, he did the same thing with
A
Resident Evil
deadline's
2.
different from a crunch. A deadline is this perceived, we can probably get this done by this point, and if not, okay, we'll delay it.
But
sorry.
if you don't allow an extension of a deadline, then if you know that your deadlines can be extended, then you might be more lax.
No, but they won't know that.
I think the problem is,
you're in a company environment.
as things currently stand, video game developers, the big ones, and publishers will set a date on a game, and factored into that will be crunch. They won't say that they factored crunch into it, because that's, abhorrent and insulting to people, but crunch will be factored in regardless. So when you delay a game by 3 months, you already have 3 months of crunch factored into it. You're then adding 3 months of crunch on top of it.
Before we move on, because I think we're coming to the end of this, I want to give the best example of video game crunch. E.T. on the Atari. The developer was given 5 weeks to make the game, which would normally take the best part of half a year, all on his own.
Yep.
Didn't come out well.
Do you know they made Mega Man 7 in 3 months?
That turned out quite well,
That's
didn't
just
it?
a ROM hack
7?
of Mega Man 6, though, surely.
No, 7's
Thanks.
the one on the SNES, isn't
Yeah,
it?
7's on the Super Nintendo.
And that's not
I am
awful,
completely
I seem
wrong.
to recall.
It's pretty bad.
It's not great, but
It's-
it's not
it's bad.
awful. I think other examples of crunch, Outrun on the Commodore 64.
So you've got 3 games.
Hold on. I just talked about Mega Man and Moogle talked about Outrun. If you're listening to this, can you send us in a bingo?
There's a bingo card, please do.
card?
Outrun on the C64 specifically was made on a very tight timescale by one very gifted
For
developer.
bingo, we've got Outrun, Hollow Knight, Mega Man,
Doom,
Animal Crossing.
Quake, Doom,
I
Quake.
was also about to say the last Pokemon games.
Yes.
Last
Because
Pokemon.
with the way they do Pokemon games now, is
Yes.
they're like, we have to do one every other year, and I think that's largely why. the
Not
last
every
one-
other year.
We mentioned Wind Waker as well. There's a
Wind Waker
bingo.
as well.
Wind Waker.
This is just like a
Yeah.
tumble
And now they're
dryer
doing-
of the same things.
I mean, we
regurgitated
talk about the
different
same
ways.
shit every fucking time. Like,
Next, let's
It's almost like the same games
Do
come out
you,
every
do you
year.
want to
something,
do one or do you
something new and something amazing.
Something
or
new and amazing.
Actually, no, I'll do it
I've
because
got a
I have.
discussion topic that's not related to news.
I have something new and amazing, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Okay.
The names of Jacob Rees-Mogg's children.
Yes, I love this.
And what their superpowers are.
Yes. Jacob Rees-Mogg's children. They all have
Jacob
stupid
Rees-Mogg.
names.
Who's Jacob Rees-Mogg Jr.?
No, Jacob
Rees-Mogg.
Jacob Rees-Mogg is one of our annoying MPs.
he is
He's the one who
currently, I believe,
went campaiigning with his nanny.
he's not Chief
I don't
Whip.
know any
I think
of
he's
this.
leader of the Commons, if
He
memory
also
serves.
put out a memo saying that you have to refer to all male MPs as Esquire.
I don't know any of these.
No, you don't.
Okay,
That's
so
a lie.
I'm going to go
that a lie?
through.
He's the right honourable.
I'm going to go through
Picture up for you.
He's an
Jacob
MP.
Rees-Mogg.
Is he the one who went, order?
No.
No, that was
Was
John
that-
Burko.
No, that's John Burko.
I'm
That
going
was
to.
the worst impression. of
John Burko is the upper class guy who goes on, have I got news for you? And he goes, yes, he's a very good egg.
Oh, they've got some fucking names,
Look,
haven't they?
everybody is a different kind of egg, okay?
Let me turn it around, actually.
I'm
No.
going to start naming Jacob Rees-Mogg's children. Give me
Okay.
their powers. Number
I don't
one,
recognise any of these.
Thomas Wentworth Somerset Dunstan Rees-Mogg.
Has the ability to go to Dorset and find cider.
How many children are there?
There's lots.
His name is
Oh.
Somerset. Why does he go to Dorset?
I
to
goes
find
beyond.
cider?
He goes beyond.
I
Each
think-
one of us could give one of them
I
a power.
think Tom Wentworth Somerset Dunstan's superpower is he has kinetic power, like telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
But they only work on croquet balls
What about
Ooh.
and foie gras?
and foie gras.
I think he can melt ice cubes in his mouth, but really fast. We've got this is one of the older ones, so I think Jacob Rees-Mogg at this point hadn't thought of as many names. Peter Theodore
Alfie.
Alfege.
So Peter the Alfege, basically, is what we're saying.
Peter the Alfege. Well, he's a Sonic the Hedgehog character.
I mean, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's
He's-
quite clear.
He has super speed, but only when he's running away from commoners.
I think Peter Theodore Alfege
The
can
Alfege.
create bacterial cultures within 5 minutes by touching things.
I can do that.
Yeah.
anyone can do that. That's a terrible power.
No, but like visible growth.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
right. So
like
if
you
you
touched it and
left
there's
it
a
overnight.
pile of
Yeah,
mold on
like
it.
if you left a petri dish
His
for 3
name
weeks,
does
they can do
sound
it
like
like
He
that.
throws out I think he can double jump.
Can we do his wife next?
Okay, his wife's name is Helena Ann Beatrix Wentworth Fitzwilliam de Chair.
Rees-Mogg.
Rees-Mogg.
She's able to eat an apple through a tennis racket.
So not something.
Which end?
That's more of a party trick than a magic.
I believe
Hey,
She
man,
does
not
that
all the
when-
X-Men were super.
I
Only
believe
on the
that she has the
weekends.
power to turn any sofa bed into a 4-post bed.
Now I agree, but also why are we all ignoring the de chair? Doesn't de chair come into?
That's why sofa, turning it into a bed. That's what I
okay.
believe. A 4-post bed.
Yeah.
With the tassels and everything.
Fair.
Mary Ann Colette Emma Rees-Mogg.
She has the power to make anyone's forehead as large as her own.
Is it Colette or Charlotte?
Hold on,
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Sorry, I'm looking at a low quality
Okay.
JPEG of this right now.
She's got some sort of mind powers.
Yeah.
Looking at her, she's staring into my soul right now.
She has the mesmer stare.
Oh,
Clearly.
you're looking at pictures. I'm just looking at the names.
I've got pictures.
She's able to read your mind if you look at pictures of her.
Oh no!
It's okay. My mind is full of thoughts about eggs right now.
She always knows which tax bracket you're
I
in.
think.
Which what, sorry?
Tax bracket you're in.
Yes.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
I think her feet are hands.
She has the most normal name.
Yes, she has a normal name.
No, but she's just got too many of them.
Yeah.
She can make any wall beige.
That's your nightmare, isn't it? No, that's a middle class thing. These guys are upper
beige
class.
nightmare.
These guys are upper class. I don't think that's the case at all.
Can we do Anselm Charles Fitzwilliam Rees-Mogg next?
He's a vampire.
He sounds like he's probably got the power over darkness. From,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
from
gonna say,
Kingdom
he's a
Hearts.
Kingdom
got
Hearts
very Kingdom
character.
Hearts
Ansel.
thing.
Yeah,
Ansel.
Ansel.
Yeah.
He's a vampire.
He's got an alter ego that's called Sano.
I say that, only 2 of the people here have an X in their name, though, so I don't think they will have the power of darkness.
Selks.
So I think I've got concepts for the last. There's only 3 left, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Anselm Charles Fitzwilliam is a vampire.
Yep.
I think Alfred Wulfric Layson Pius is a werewolf.
Yes, certainly.
And I think Sixtus Dominic Bonyface Christopher
He's a mummy.
is
He's a
Satan
skeleton.
himself.
No, he's a skeleton.
Yes, Sixtus makes him sound like a demon.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes him sound like he's someone's shadow.
No, he's 100% a demon.
He's the one with the power over darkness.
Bonyface.
Yeah, Sixtus is the really scary one. What's your name? Sixtus, but my friends call me Six.
Eustace
It's
is
weird
his name.
because they were like, oh, we're having a 6th child, we'll call him Sixtus, and if
As
we
if
have a
that's-
7th one, we'll call him Sextus.
Sixtus Dom
Seventus.
Bonyface.
Seventus.
Bonyface.
Boniface.
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 Bonyface.
He is Bonnie of...
No, he's definitely the inner skeleton
Yeah,
is making its inroads.
the skeleton is named Bonyface, and
definitely.
the outer skin is just a cosmetic enhancement.
Now that we've finished being cruel to people who had no control
To children.
over their names and their the circumstances
Now
of
When
their
the
birth.
revolution comes,
Now that we've
Jacob.
finished bullying children.
There's always room for bullying children in the schedule of this show.
Especially when they're upper class children.
Well, maybe I tell you what, if they give up all their wealth, then I'll stop bullying them. If you're listening,
He's just got a very chip on his bony shoulder, isn't he? He's got a very big chip on your bony shoulder.
Sixtus, if you're listening to this, please don't hurt me. Thank you.
Sixtus is the baby.
Sixtus.
He's a year
Yeah, I
old.
know, but
Sixtus-
Sixtus will come back to this in 20
Sixtus,
years.
if you're listening to this, run.
He's
not read the
telepathically
prophecy?
listening to everyone who has wronged him.
It was in the Brexit manifesto.
You told me to stop making fun of Jacob Rees-Mogg's children, and I've made fun of them in my apology to them. Specs, you give me something new.
Do we
now.
want to do Mitch's game?
You want to do it now?
Oh no.
Yeah, why not? Let's.
Okay.
This will be fun. What have we got, Mitchell?
It looks like Hangman.
I want you all to applaud when I come in the room.
With soft hands.
Not yet.
And also when
You're
you
not
when
actually
you
going out,
enter.
It's cold.
I know.
Can you just like
Turn
play
around.
band the
Hi, I'm Animitch.
Welcome, Japanese cartoon Michael.
Boy, I just jerked off here, and boy, are my arms tired. Anyway, welcome to Hentai Mike's Pervtastic Quizathon.
I'd like to explain what I'm seeing here. Hentai Mike has lifted a whiteboard on which he has written his name Hentai Mike, the words Pervtastic Quizathon, and he has drawn a picture of a woman with large breasts and a penis with one hairy ball and one bald
No,
ball.
I
You messed up the ball, yeah.
Also, they're very large hips.
This
Wait,
would be
hang on,
a futanari in common parlance.
I forgot something. Hold on.
He's amending the picture.
I don't see how it could get any better.
There we go.
It's absolutely improved now.
It's now. I can no longer legally describe this picture.
Nor can we post an image of it for your
So,
for your
I'm going to
perusal.
need teams. Oh, hey, I'm Hentai Mike's,
Yeah.
but for this remainder of the quiz, I am the Hentai Master, or HM for short. You're all my contestants, or my HM slaves.
He's got a book that he's reading a script from.
I'm not supposed to tell them that.
I'm
so
laughing
I need you guys
and
to,
puking at the same time.
I need you guys to get into 2 teams.
Should we be a team?
Yeah.
The 3.
Okay.
In the 3.
Me
That's
and
probably even.
Specs and
What's
Shiny versus HHA, Catsman, and Moogle.
What's our hentai name?
Oh.
Please God, no.
Please God No is our name.
That'll do.
It's from one of those
got one.
Christian hentais.
Veronica.
Right, please God, no, I'm changing you down to PG. I was going to say PNG, but PGN.
Yeah.
Please no God. Can you change your name to that? Would that be fine?
Sure, but doesn't that imply that God is the perpetrator?
Please.
He is at the moment.
Please, no God.
Please.
Mitch is your god now.
I'm your master slave. Fucking slave.
What do you want to call ourselves?
I'm happy with Veronica.
Yeah?
If you want, yeah, Veronica.
Chode Veronica.
Veronica.
Chode Veronica.
Cool.
Chode Veronica.
That's Jacob
great.
Rees-Mogg's
Chode
Chode
Veronica.
Veronica.
Change it so it's Chode Veronica, please.
Resident penile Chode Veronica.
CV, yes.
It's the penis Chode Veronica hepatitis.
Okay, so we will start this. I'll need a calculator, but
Oh, no.
That's fine.
Do you want me to calculate something in the background?
I'm sure that Max
we'll
doubles
add
as
them
a
up
human
later.
calculator.
You sure?
Yeah. So we'll
Only,
start with our
approximately.
first round of the quiz. Tag You're It. A couple of you guys are familiar with how this game is played.
Yeah, I love
Those
Tag You're
people
It.
aren't. I went to popular doujin websites and clicked on. Do you know what a doujin is?
It's a fan-made game.
It's manga porn.
It's
Okay,
mostly
that
doing
sounds
manga
good
porn.
enough.
I went onto a manga porn website archive where all the doujins are tagged, and each tag refers to a different type of fetish.
Was it GE
Amazing.
hentai by any chance?
Maybe. So I went onto those and I wrote down a bunch of fetish tags and their description. What I want you guys to do is I will read off the name of the fetish and the team. It's open to anyone. Raise your hand if you think that you know the answer, and then you give me the answer.
We
You
tell
will
you
score-
what the fetish means.
Yes, to the best of your
The more
ability.
shameless you are, the better you will do
More
in this
brave.
competition.
You'll get 100 hentai points for this, or 100 HP. So whoever has the most HP at the end of the game will be the victor.
Are there any recycled ones from our previous version?
Nope. these
Are you
all-
saying that the person at the end is going to be the
You're good
HPV,
at
the
this.
HP
You know all
victor?
the sexy things.
Maybe.
I see.
Maybe you'll win your freedom slave. So, if we're ready to go, let's start. Tag You're It. The first one. Gijika. Gijika.
Ijika.
Okay.
Jijika.
If you don't know, just guess something to do
Similar
with
to
ears.
Gajinka, but it's...
Specs.
Is it something to do with strangling?
No.
Kijika. Is it vor?
No.
Is it crushing?
No.
Something to do with eggs, like laying eggs or something.
No.
It's about having a nice time.
Can you say,
That's all
Someone's,
these tags.
someone's having a nice
can you
time.
say it again?
Gijika. Gijika.
Kijika. I'm trying to go through the fetish list I can think
No.
of.
I feel
Quite
like
obscure.
we're scraping the bottom of the barrel now.
Kijika.
We've done the ones
being
everyone
trapped
knows.
in something. Well, no.
Well, the correct answer is a character having a human form when they typically do not have
That's
one.
Gajinka. There should be an N in it.
There's no.
It's Gajinka.
This is what was on the thing.
No, that's wrong. It's Gajinka.
Do you know what?
Do not question the hentai
I'm gonna say
master.
because you seem to know and you're looking at me
It's
like
100% correct.
that. I will
It's
give you. I
Gajinka.
will give you Gajika then if you don't hurt me. Okay.
Yeah, Gajinka, Moe anthropomorphism.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I said right at the start. I was like, I know what Gajinka is,
Why
but
didn't you
Gajika
say
isn't a
that then?
thing. Because I did.
Well, everyone else was. Yeah, you didn't put your hand up and answer.
Well, no,
then.
it's because I was like, I don't know what Gajika is, but I know what Gajinka is.
Can we
It's a
have
different
50 HP for that?
You get 100.
Yes.
You get the 100.
Well done.
Next.
Why are you so good at this?
Questions that will not be answered during this session.
So here's the thing: Gajinka isn't specifically and explicitly a sexual
no,
thing.
it's not.
A lot of
But it's attack.
like a lot of Pokemon artists
Honest.
do like human versions of Pokemon,
Yeah.
which is not sexual.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Maybe not.
Good ladder out of that hole you've dug. Anyway,
I just-
next. Hagure. Haigure.
That's specifically this pose.
Because you did the pose.
Because
I
I've
know.
done the pose.
Yes.
It's specifically people who are mind controlled into making a specific pose.
So, a girl wearing a skin-tight suit whilst in that position
What
Moogle
was it?
did.
the specific pose is slightly bent down and with
Bent
your
arms and legs
with
that
your
So
arms.
a
Straight
little
the
bit
crotch.
like the
It's very strange to
the
describe.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, kind of like that. Specifically, I believe the fetish is about being mind controlled rather than the pose
Why
itself,
is that a
but
fetish?
it just
Which
is.
is mind control
Mitch
fetish.
said mind control's
It's
a top tier fetish. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It just is. There's no explaining this one.
I feel like we've almost moved beyond sexual fetishes now.
Well,
We-
get ready
we
for the
have.
next one.
We're in the realm where it's like it's a fetish for people who
highly
like
abstract.
Yeah.
I mean, the definition of fetish is something that generally isn't considered sexual,
Yeah.
giving sexual gratification to someone.
Next. Inseki. Inseki.
Inseki.
Inseki.
INS.
Specs.
Is it being covered in
No.
cum?
No. No.
No.
That'd be insane.
Laying eggs.
No.
One of them's got to be laying eggs. I've seen it. I've seen it.
You've seen it.
You've seen them. The
Inseki.
multi-story car park. Suppose you.
Is it somehow related to isekai?
No.
Is it amputation?
Nope.
Prevention of ejaculation.
Nope.
That was a good guess. Can you give us something normie cool?
No. I feel that this would have been better. No, not that I'm going to criticise the mighty Hentai Master. You should have had several tiers of
No, I like this.
points.
No, that'd be too much.
But now you learn something. Now
It'd be too
Okay,
complicated.
give us the answer,
things
Hentai
I do
Master.
not want to know.
I will write
Sex involving relatives of non-related families. So
So like stepsisters and stuff. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the
not
most
a
common
fact,
one.
That's a combination of like an English
Like-
word and something
like
else,
incest,
and
but not-
incest.
It's like
Okay.
legal
I have
incest.
sex with my sister, but we're not related at all, and we met last week. Ooh, sexy.
You're so
That's what
pissed
happens
off
when you don't
about
trade
this.
sheep with
I
me.
am.
Spank.
next,
Wink.
I'm ready.
Wink.
layer cake.
Oh!
Ooh, specs.
Getting covered in cum.
No,
Sorry.
That's a good
Layer
guess.
cake as in just a tag.
layer cake. Yeah.
Layer cake.
Layer cake.
Layer-
Is it
Layers of
spelled the way you'd
bodies?
expect a layer cake?
LAYERCAKE.
It's
That
a
means
cake
something
made
different.
of people, but you don't eat
No.
it. You ejaculate between
Is
the layers.
it in any way related to cake farts?
No.
Okay.
Specs.
Is it porn that specifically follows the plot of the movie Layer Cake?
No.
Oh, I got it. It's something to do with shit.
No, you were on the right track before.
Oh.
Is it use
Oh!
of food on?
Is it like lots of butts stacked up?
No.
Okay.
Is it the use of food on naked
No.
people? No. What was your first thing that you said?
Yes.
Layering bodies.
Oh,
No, that was someone.
Is it when you insert your hand
No.
in...
No.
Do you want to finish?
No, don't let it
No,
finish.
I shouldn't.
What was your first thing that you said
That's
that you
my
thought
kink.
that was close?
I don't know.
It's
Oh,
not
it's
like
layering bodies.
I just
No,
say
you-
the first thing that comes
it's
into my
not
head.
like the mixing or stacking of multiple bodily fluids
No.
slash solids.
No.
I think we've exhausted this
we
one.
don't know.
It is penis rubbed between two vaginas.
Ooh.
Okay, next one. Omorashi.
Omarashi. That's pissing.
I'll give it to you.
Or is it desperation caused by? It's desperation caused by needing to piss.
It's a character with a full bladder either wetting themselves or coming close.
And also being near to wetting themselves.
200 points for you guys. Last of this round, Oyako Don.
Yakodon.
I've heard this.
Oyakodon.
Laying eggs.
No, there's no laying eggs.
Next time, can you
Tentacles.
No.
finish?
Specs.
Ugly old man, pretty young lady.
No.
You guessed that
That's
every
an
time.
obvious one though.
Oh, we thought about it though. So
Oh,
it's-
Is it
Yakodon.
close to that?
Is it something age related?
I'll put it along that line.
Ugly young lady, young old man.
No.
Young old man.
That's no one's fetish.
No.
A young old man.
Yeah.
Age related.
That's it.
Is it the dressing up of people in
No.
clothes younger than they're supposed to be in?
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Go on, tell us.
Oh yeah.
Two Tories fucking.
No. Oyakodon, a grouping of a parent and one or more of their children engaging in sexual activity with the same partner. I wrote Sam partner.
Oh, I
right,
see.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's mum and daughter have sex with the daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's still not great.
No, but I mean,
That's still the
not what I
awkward.
thought it
Oh
was
shit!
initially.
I need your computer for the next one.
Oh dear.
This round.
Should I,
Oh dear.
should I put on private browsing mode?
Yeah, please.
I've got a VPN, so go nuts, honestly.
That's good.
Go on then.
Well done for getting out.
Go on then, Hentai Master, take the
Well, it's
computer.
because he.
I'm
Well,
poorly
if I sit
equipped
around
for
this
this
side.
round.
I'd have gotten
don't
it
worry.
that if
You
he
have to
not.
come
You're poorly equipped
And also
for
you'll have
the
to use
entire
your-
quiz,
your-
but don't worry, I've got your back.
That's my life.
Don't worry, I've got your back.
Where's the internet?
Maybe worry because I've got your back, but
I've opened,
Yeah,
Alt tab.
Mozilla.
I have opened private browsing, and I will need you to use it because this sometimes is a work computer.
that's a bad idea.
So it's time for our second round, Buru Royale.
Oh, I know
yes,
this
I love
one.
Buru
Buru
Royale.
For
Royale
those of
is
you who
great.
do not know what Buru Royale is, it is a game where I go onto popular Rule 34 websites. I will give the teams a series, a franchise. They must try to figure out what character from said franchise has the most porn of that character. But there is also the best girl bonus. If you're able to figure out who I consider to be the best girl in that franchise, those points will be added to your score, and then your score will be doubled. So it's worth trying to get the best girl bonus.
By that you mean
The whole
points,
score will be
the points you
doubled.
get for answering that question are doubled, not...
No. They will go. Those points will go to you, and then your entire score will be doubled.
That's different than last time.
Yes, it is, because
Ooh, best
That
girl
matters,
bonus
that
is
matters.
very important.
Best girl matters.
All right.
best girl finally matters.
This is now just an exercise in Animitch's taste in anime.
So I
girls.
partially wasn't listening. So our vote and
We played it at Mitch's house.
I know that, but so our vote for who we think is the highest. If we want to try and get the best girl bonus, do we make two separate guesses?
No,
So
you
we have
only
to
guess
say,
one.
I
You have to go for
think
one or the
this
other.
But
is-
you want to get
But it
the
doubles
best
your
girl
entire
bonus.
score for
You
this
want to
round.
say best girl bonus, don't you?
Entire
Yeah.
score.
Okay, if we're ready, we'll start.
I'm ready.
This might be bad for you because I don't know how much you guys watch anime.
It's
but,
fine.
There's
No.
some video games, but they're mostly.
I know
anime.
video games.
It'll be alright.
Okay. First, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I don't know this.
Me. General Armstrong.
Maria Armstrong. Yeah, I know. Okay.
If you guys have watched this or not,
G.
No,
Armstrong.
I've not watched it. This is all you.
I don't know. I've never watched the
Have
series.
none of us
I
watched
don't know.
it?
I don't know anyone
They're
else.
all banking on you, Matt, because you're the only one who seems to have seen it, even though it was
Name a
ages ago.
character.
Name a character.
Just name a character.
Canonically, it has to be Lust, sure.
You were going to say Lust? Now, here's the interesting thing where it evens out. You guys have only seen Brotherhood.
True.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So, I need to look at these pictures.
Needs to examine them intently.
How do I turn off Mitch?
Make a
You
How
don't.
do I turn off, how do I
Okay,
turn off this
so,
game? How do I turn
General
off everything?
Armstrong. You have...
My poor
309.
That's not
That's
that
not very
much.
many, really. Is
So
it?
I understand why
Lust.
she's fit.
Lust is going to be massive.
You're going to have to enter in a double tag here to make sure.
Yeah.
So, specifically Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
87. Neither of you got the best girl bonus, which was Martel, who is the snake girl. She is part of Greed's crew,
Yeah.
and she's
roughly
killed
remember.
by...
I
spoilers.
don't remember. I don't remember her.
Moving on. Next, Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, fuck. There's so many girls.
Okay.
Just the original.
I haven't watched it.
Who's going first in this particular one?
You
We're
guys.
going to go first
It's
this
a-
time. I'm gonna go with enemy Valkyrie in the first game, whose name I can't remember, but I know she's got a regal name.
If I tell you her actual name, will you give us the points instead?
No.
Okay. Her name's Selvaria Blast.
Selvaria, yes.
Is your best girl the sniper?
You said.
I said Selvaria.
Salvaria Bias, I guess her name is.
Bless. I
Bless,
think.
yes.
She has 600.
That may not mean anything yet. We'll see.
Alicia, 150.
It does mean something.
I knew
Who is best girl?
Best girl was the sniper.
Yes.
How many-
What's her name? Please tell me her name. I can't remember it.
Her name is
Wolf?
Marina Wolfston.
Marina.
I knew it had a wolf in it. She is a
I knew she was
I
your
should've
best
gone
girl.
for it.
I knew she was your
I
best
had a
girl.
feeling it might be, but
Next, this is going to be a good one, and you'll actually be able to answer it. Maybe, possibly.
we get to go first, right?
Yes. The next category is From Software game.
Oh no!
Any game
From
published or developed by From Software.
Oh no!
Go to town.
Oh
Okay,
no!
so games by Front Software, they're the new IP people.
His best girl is the white wolf lady from Bloodborne. What? I don't know what she's called.
Oh,
The White Wolf Lady.
The big white
Yeah, I know the
werewolf
one.
that's covered in.
Oh, Amelia.
wax.
yeah.
Amelia. Vicar Amelia is
Vicar
the one you
Amelia,
mean.
yeah.
We'll go with her.
You're going to go with Vicar Amelia.
Yeah. That's who we're going with.
Whose team are you on?
There is a snake girl, but she's not very pretty. So, I think it's gonna be... Okay, we'll go for Maiden in Black.
Vicar Amelia got you 89.
It's not too bad.
No.
I mean, From Soft, I don't... Yeah.
Maiden in Black
Gonna be
is...
I don't think she has a name.
Just made it up.
I got her up.
Thank God for that.
94.
Not too.
Best gold bonus goes to Pickle P.
Who?
Pickle Pea! Pumperum!
Who?
Pickle
Six
Pea,
Crow.
she's one of the crows.
Crow.
Me, Pickle Pea. Me, Pumperum.
Next and final category for this round.
Sluggo with
Can
his
we
bell.
have it because we're behind?
Are you behind?
No, I think
Yeah.
we
No,
alternate
they're-
anyway.
They're way
Go
ahead.
away. That's
And
not
no, you
fair.
can't have it. Fuck you, Specs. You always cheat.
Any character from the Metal Gear franchise.
Solid Snake. We're allowed to go for male characters in terms of points?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. That could be. Should we go for that?
Should we go for her?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Who
options
did
here.
you say?
I said Solid Snake.
That's a safe option.
It's a safe option.
We'll go for Olga. I can't remember her last name.
Olga Galukovic.
Yeah.
Solid Snake will net your team. What the fuck?
He's just gotten distracted, I think.
Solid Snake. Digby from Animal Crossing. Solid
Is
Snake.
that-
Oh, of course, to Smash.
Yeah.
656.
I'll take it.
Olga
Galukovic.
Galukovic.
I mean, none.
33.
But is she best girl?
No.
Oh.
Who is...
Courtney Collins from Revengeance.
Who is?
Courtney Collins.
Courtney Collins. Yeah, okay, figured.
I don't know
I
who
don't
that
know.
is.
That's one of your support staff. I was going to be Emma. Like, I was tempted to pick Emma,
I
but
didn't think
no.
about support.
All right, we're done with Guru Royale. Thank you all.
Thank
You
God
may
for
return
that.
to your-
We're on to the hang
return.
round.
No one got any best girls this time, although we technically guessed best girl, but we didn't put them in as an answer.
did we say?
Marina.
Marina who?
We knew Marina from Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to check my history, just in case.
The next round is Jav or Joke.
Oh no.
So
Oh, I know what this is already.
the way Jav or Jape, Jav or Joke.
Jav or
It was
Jape?
originally going to be called Jav or Jape. Jav or Joke is, I will say a name of a Jav, which is a Japanese adult video title. I will name the title. It may or may not be true. We will do a betting.
Oh.
You will bet one after another, starting at 10% of the lowest score, so that would be 68 is the starting bet.
Mm-hmm.
You would bet over one another until one of you isn't comfortable with going, and then you will guess if it is a true title or a joke title. Okay? So whoever wins the betting gets to...
Why are we doing...
I like
say
betting.
true.
No.
It's more like bidding than betting.
Bid. You
Yeah,
bid.
we
You
bid.
bid.
So we bid on who gets to answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
He's calm.
Here we go. Are we ready for the first round of 5? Whenever I make breakfast, my son wants to eat my pussy. The starting bet is 68. Do I hear 68? 68, anyone? Do I hear 68?
I'll bet 68.
68 over here. Any higher? 68.
20%.
What?
Because it's
You need to
easier
bet
than
more money.
saying...
Bet a
like,
number!
Okay, 136 then.
136. Any higher than 136? I have 136 over
I'll
here.
bet 140.
140 over here. Any higher? Do I hear any higher than
Oh,
140?
right, we don't have to go up in
No.
10% increments.
No.
Okay,
No.
sorry, I thought we had to do 10%.
140 over here. Any higher than 140?
150 then.
150 over here. Any higher than 150?
I'll bet 160.
We're at 160 is 10% of our stock.
160 over here. Do I hear any higher? 160.
Yeah, 170.
170 over here. Any more? Any lower?
How high do you want to go with this?
170. 170. Any more over here?
Anyone else want him?
Anyone else?
I have no
170.
confidence I can answer this.
Going
one.
once. Going twice. Sold! Whenever I make breakfast, my son wants to eat my pussy. Joke or Jav?
Jav.
Joke.
Oh, fuck.
You see?
Minus 160
I
from
was
your
sure.
phone, please.
Minus
It was
160.
107. Sorry.
Next.
That's alright.
Sweaty sexual desire covered slut who has been fucked in forced vaginal cum shot to jailbreak criminal. 2.
2. The 2 makes it. The 2 is what makes this.
Going for 51 HP.
I bet 51.
51 over here, I have 51 over here. Anyone, do I hear 50 any higher than 51?
I,
60 over
I
here.
bet 100.
100 over here, any more than 100?
150.
150 over
That's
here.
a third of your stock.
150. Any advances on
I bet
150?
200.
200 over here. Do I hear any more than 200?
210.
210 over here. Any more than 210?
bet
210.
That's like half of your money.
I bet
They're trying to
220.
force us to waste our money, lads. Don't go any higher.
I bet
210.
Don't go any higher.
I bet 220.
Don't
220 over here.
go any higher.
220, 220.
Fuck you, Moogle. No, fuck you. I've gained most of these points.
220.
These are
Any
my
more?
HP that you're
220 going
spending.
once. Going twice. Sold for 220. Sweaty sexual desire covered slut who has been fucked in forced vaginal cum slut to jailbreak criminal 2.
I'm gonna go with
Jab
Jav.
or joke?
Jav.
Correct.
Yes!
So that's
Don't bet, Catsman.
210.
No, I said bet, but don't go too high. They want to make us waste our money.
Next. Even though I became a woman... What is this? Even though I became a woman... Even...
It's gotta be bad.
Spit it out, Mitch.
It's gotta be bad.
Even though I became a woman, the lower body was hermaphrodite with incomplete feminization 5. I am a TSF cosplayer. Starting bet
Moogle,
is
you're betting for me.
51.
No, I'm not gonna go for this.
Should we go all in and say it's a jab?
Yeah, why not?
All in.
All in!
It's a jab.
We'd have to all in as well in order to break that, right?
No, because they're the lowest team, it wouldn't make any sense because then you
Okay.
could just outbid them every time.
It's a jab.
It was a jab.
Oh.
So-
Yes, it was.
So 515 times 2 is
got
1,030.
Well done.
You pulled it. Well, no.
No,
Mitch,
you're not.
Mitch can't spell the word.
How many more of these are there?
That's how I knew it wasn't.
How many of these are there? Or
There's
do you
two
not tell
left.
us? There's 2 left.
2 left. Next one. Use of dark power has me trapped in my wife's body and I cannot stop having lesbian sex with my neighbour. Starting bid is 103.
103,
Starting
yeah.
bet is 103.
Yep.
I'll bet the starting bet.
103 over here. We're
Spin
heading
on the
higher than
lens.
103.
You can bet whenever
Up
you
to you,
want.
let you
I'm not.
choose.
I'm not
Yeah.
in control of
Up
bet.
to
You
you.
can bet.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with betting. I'll let you know when I'm not comfortable with betting.
103. 103. Any higher than 103?
Yeah, 110. What are you on? What's the-
110.
No,
They're on
no.
2,117.
Okay. All in.
All in.
All in.
All in.
All right then. Jab or joke. Use of...
It's a joke. It's a joke, Mitch.
It was a joke.
Yes!
2060.
They're
You
back in
have
it.
tied it up in the last one, which is trapped in the male-only carriage as nightmare turns to dream as girl leaves for slut station.
I'm
The starting bid
putting it on
is 206. Do I hear 206?
Yes.
206 over here. Any
You-
higher than 206?
Moogle, you bet.
210.
210 over here. Do I have any higher than 210?
230.
230 over here. Do I hear any more advances on 230? You don't have to bet if you don't feel comfortable.
240.
240 over here. Do I have any higher than 240?
300.
300 from the man with the bob.
I don't have a bob.
Any more higher than 300?
I don't have a bob.
What do you think, guys think?
No, you got
300?
What do you guys think?
Tell me.
Going once? Going twice?
If you want to go, then go.
Sold to the man in the bob.
Give me the title again.
Trapped in the male-only carriage as nightmare turns to dream as girl leaves for slut station. 300 and
300.
What do you
300
think?
was on this?
300.
I think it's a jab. What do you think? I think it's a jab.
You think jab?
I think jab.
It was a joke, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's what I would have said.
So the final scores
That's
are
all right.
now
We're close.
2,117 to 1,760.
Yeah.
We now move into
That's all right. We made
this-
We made some ground.
Excellent
Probably
jabbing
suck.
team.
this jab. This
How many
Is-
more rounds have you got?
Is there
this is the
hangman?
penultimate.
Oh my god, this
we
I
just-
love this.
goes on
I love
forever.
this. I adore
I
this,
want to move
Mitchell.
on.
When's
Skip
it
this
going to
round.
end?
Skip this
Can we
round.
have a quick
Well, then
pause?
you guys
I need to go
lose.
for an employment review with the clowns.
I'll explain the next round. Hentai hostility. It's basically Family Feud. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the title of a hentai doujin manga.
We're gonna do
And-
the tags.
And we'll go with the lowest team first, and you have to tell me what tags would be present in that.
Do I have to say
don't
them
know
in their Japanese names? Or-
No,
Don't know the
Okay,
tag.
that's
you can
alright.
describe them, draw them, mime them.
Mime them, okay.
Interpretive
We'll
dance,
go,
I think,
we'll
is
go back
is
and forth
appropriate.
until each team has 3 incorrect answers.
Okay.
Okay.
Egg.
Egg.
Always the egg.
Right, first one. Team, you get to answer first.
Thank you.
The tags are in increments of 200, 300, 500, 1,000. There's only 4 I'm looking for.
Okay.
So, sex angel helping a lolicon shutting graduate from their virginity.
Ahagao.
No, incorrect.
No.
Team 2, do you have any ideas?
Can you repeat?
Can I just say lolicon?
You can.
I want to say that.
Okay, that's 200 points.
Nice.
Ooh, only 200 though. Well, how are you determining top tags?
How
By your own importance to it, or
basically, yeah.
Okay,
What,
fair enough.
In hentai.
Oh,
what
yeah,
they
it
would
does.
be like
No.
thought of.
It
Like Lollicom's
100%
pretty
does.
obvious one.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, okay, so
It
less
re-
obvious.
it-
People,
does.
no, people aren't going to tag it with that.
Yeah, they are.
No.
You don't understand
You can
how
go
porn
for it if you
literature
want.
works.
Alright, go for it.
I was gonna say-
I've read a lot of hentai, but
I've read a lot of hentai. I think I know.
So I was going to say non-con.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay,
I think
can you
it's
repeat the
awful.
title again for me? I'm going to keep asking,
Sex
because...
angel helping a lolicon shut-in graduate from their virginity.
Whose turn is it?
Your
You
turn.
My turn.
I'm out of ideas.
Unusually shaped pupils.
That's not going to be a
It's a
tag.
good one, but it's not there.
It's not there, but it's a good one.
It's a good one, but it's not there.
You see?
we're going with Hikikomori or Neat.
Ooh,
It's a good option.
it's a good option, but it's not there, I'm afraid.
Is that our
We're
third
out.
wrong?
We're
That's
out.
your third wrong, so you guys have 2 more guesses.
Cream pie. No. I'll let you guys go if you
This
want.
isn't Pornhub.com.
But it is.
Moogle.
But it is, because that's a similar term
This
that would be
is
used.
serious.
This is serious business. Do you guys have one at all then?
No.
It ain't easy being creepy.
Sex angel.
It ain't greasy.
Help
being
shut in lose virginity.
Crazy.
Creamsy.
Creamsy.
That's the name
I
of a
think
clown.
it's Gabriel.
Do you guys have any other...
The clown is called Creamsy Pie, and he throws. He's a pie
Throws
throwing
cream pies
He's
at
a-
people.
He is
Which
a
ones have they got?
morbidly
They've got
obese
lolicon.
man.
We've got
all I got,
lolicon.
yeah.
That's what they
200.
got. Okay.
Sex angel... Wings.
Just throw any...
Wings.
Wings? No, not wings, I'm afraid.
Monster Girl, probably.
Ones we had left were Gender Bender,
Oh.
Futanari, and Cervic Penetration.
Cervic penetration.
Okay.
Those were the other 3 that
We
you
should
could
just guess
Next,
Futanari every
we
time.
got 2 more to go. The next title is The Downtown Shopping Street's Wife's Holes.
Excuse me?
The Downtown Shopping Street's Wife's Holes.
Do you want to guess an obvious one?
Double penetration.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
I was going to guess. Fine, whatever.
Well, you said me to guess one.
I said, do you want to guess an obvious one? And then you said
The
double
Downtown Shopping
penetration.
I did,
Street's
'cause that's an obvious
Wife's
one.
Holes.
Christmas cake or something, you think?
Ooh.
Christmas cake.
As in,
As in an older woman.
I'll give you MILFs for that.
MILFs.
That's
okay.
what I was going to guess.
There we go.
I'll read it again.
I'm gonna guess.
The Downtown Shopping Street's Wife's Holes.
Downtown shopping streets.
Sorry, that
wife
cracks me up every time.
holes.
All about the
Do you
holes.
All about that.
It's about golf.
Oral sex.
No.
What?
Uh,
I'm going for obvious
Which one
ones
do
here.
you
I'm
wanna
sorry.
I'm going to guess golf unless you come up with something better.
I don't have anything better, and I've asked you consistently, and all you've done is say what they've said.
Well,
That's-
I don't
that's
listen
good.
to them.
like, it's the word for cheat. Netorari.
Bingo!
Yes! That's the big
500
one.
points.
That's the big one.
To the
So
man in the box.
I said adultery, and he translated it.
So,
How
you
many
guys
points
are
did
on
we get for
your
that?
500.
Yes,
You
we're
guys are on
almost
your
there.
last guess of last wrong answer, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we keep going.
Impregnation.
We've had...
Cream pie, basically, I guess, again.
No, I'm afraid not.
Didn't think so. Go on, what are the other tags?
These guys have one more answer.
Oh, they have one more.
We can describe.
Penetration with an object other than penis.
Nope.
Okay. Do we just get another guess?
Yep.
As well? We'll go with ass to mouth.
No. The last 2 were big breasts
Okay.
and a beauty mark.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
The last one for this... Oh,
We're doing
add
that.
your 500, remember?
Yeah, we've done that.
Okay. Last one is a lesbian succubus's lust crest pleasure training. Who's in last place now? I guess you guys are winning and you're in last place.
Crest pleasure training. Womb tattoo.
That is a great pick.
200 points.
Yeah, there you go. There's one.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
Don't, just
know
don't.
what?
I understand this trope. I understand this trope.
I'm
He
not
said
gonna
it.
ask.
He said it, and I imagined the scene.
There you go.
You see it, you know the cover.
We're gonna go with Yuri.
No.
Wow.
Mm.
So is this
Yuri
like?
could have been there, but I picked 4 ones that were like, this is not very obvious. This
Oh,
one is
okay.
obvious, so.
Oh, so
So it's not actually.
So it's like pointless
It's
rather
random.
than Family Feud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's ones you want us to say rather
Yeah,
than
okay.
ones that were typed.
Is it my go again, or are they?
Yeah, you go. Well, it's your
Your
go
team.
against these
Well,
two.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I've got several that I can
I
apply to
bet.
this. I have several that
good.
can be applied to this.
I don't know. Isn't Succubus stuff quite vanilla? I didn't.
It can be, but it also
can be.
like
Moogle.
I'm gonna go with either tail or tail sex.
No.
Oh, there's the obvious.
We
The other
dodged
one.
the bullet on that one because that was going to be my next one.
Yep.
So
Training.
we're losing because
Bondage.
someone.
No.
Yeah.
The other answers were add 200 because you got crossed.
I'm trying to think what else could be.
What's
Corruption or
Let him-
corruption was on there.
Corruption was there.
Fuck off.
A Hago was there.
Oh, no.
Unusual Pupils was there.
Oh!
It's everything you
Dang
guessed.
it! Dang it!
Usual.
Bobby!
Oh my
Our
like a
final
bingo
scores are
2560.
Did you add up?
2517.
Yes!
No, we took it.
What?
No, they won.
2560.
Yeah, we won.
6017. They won.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
won.
won!
We
They
checked
did.
That's
Yeah, they won.
really
Yeah,
fucking
2560
close
and
considering
25
these-
Oh!
that was really good.
Yeah,
I thought it was 2617.
Alright.
All right,
Well
so
done,
now
lads.
Good stuff.
Congratulations.
that was Hentai Mike's Pervtastic Quizathon.
Kind of fell apart a little bit at the end there,
It
but
kinda
I
did.
enjoyed that.
Congratulations,
Yeah, I mean-
winning
Thank you
team.
guys.
It was a close fought
It was
race.
very close.
I will cross off the idea of a
We came close to victory, and
hangman
also
puzzle at the end
we
on
were
the
close to
crosswords.
Just make sure,
instead.
like, if you're going to do it, you
Hentai
pre-prepare
crossword.
it, you know?
I thought I could handle doing a fucking hangman puzzle.
Obviously not.
Alright.
Let's talk about something that's not hentai.
Okay,
Please.
I've got a more serious topic if you want one.
I don't know if
what
I-
could be more serious than
Do you,
hentai?
do you want a good conundrum from
Yes.
me?
Yeah, let's
I'd
do
love a conundrum at
I
this
like
point.
conundrum.
So I just started writing. It says you are the creative director behind the cursed sequel to Sonic Mania, which is called Sonic Regular, or maybe the cursed sequel to Super Mario All Stars, which is called Super Mario No Stars, or whatever. Look, I'm just asking you for bad levels in otherwise good games. Quit hassling.
Bad levels in good games is basically the...
What, like make
Yes.
up bad levels?
No. What's a bad level in an otherwise good game?
We've been talking about this a little bit over the last week. I don't think that Mario 64 has any good levels.
What about Doya Doya Docs?
Doya Doya Docs is not a good level. That's the one that lags
Poor
everything.
Matt Doyer.
That's Bowser Gets Wet and Wild.
Mario 64 is a game that lives on its mechanics. I think they're very good, but I think the levels are either boring or just kind of there or bad.
Bowser in the Dark World.
I like Bowser in the Dark World, but that style of platforming doesn't suit that style of game very well.
Yeah, I'll agree that it goes on the movement. So
Is
that's not really a good example because that is a game with sort of mediocre levels all the way around.
Is this like that one part of a game that you otherwise enjoy that you don't want to have to do
Yes.
ever again?
Yes, that is
yeah.
what it is.
Dragon Age 1 has the fade, which is fucking appalling if you've ever played Dragon Age.
No,
Nobody
no.
plays it. Within a couple of weeks of it being released, there was a mod that just removes it from the game and just
Yeah.
slips
Can
it.
you describe what's bad about it?
It is a party-based old-style CRPG, and they remove all of your party from you and transform you into different animals with different classes and make you go through some bullshit off-beige dream world
Oh,
where
am I thinking the
the
place with
demons
the...
live.
Oh, yeah.
It's
no.
in the Mage's Tower, I think, is
Yeah,
where it
I don't mind
happened.
it.
It's not doing it once, it's doing it multiple
guess.
times because it's boring and dull. There's no choices to make, there's nothing interesting in it.
I mean,
Games that are based around interesting moral choices, where there are entire segments that last more than an hour where you have no interesting choices to
I mean,
make.
anytime a game is like, I'm going to be a different genre, like when Mario Galaxy is like, you're now controlling a bubble or whatever.
I like the bubble.
No, that's
level.
fine.
Specs will disagree with me on this one because he hates them, I think, if memory serves.
Let's see.
I like the parts of Bayonetta that turn into Space Harrier and Outrun.
Hate them. Especially the motorbike bit in Bayonetta 1. Awful.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
The Space Harrier bits I don't like very much. They're slightly better, but it goes on too long. If it was shorter, it'd be fine. They do it in Wonderful 101 as well. They're not as bad in Wonderful 101, but you have to do a Punch-Out style minigame twice, and it's really annoying.
Any minigame is bad.
Kamiya enjoys
After
putting in like references / shout outs to his favourite video games.
he can make a shmup.
No, he likes putting in references to his favourite games and everything he does.
Then why doesn't
He just does.
Just make a shmup. Cameo, just
He
make
doesn't
a
want to.
If you're listening, Cameo, block me on Twitter and make a fucking shmup.
Don't break the pen.
Um,
I'm going to talk about the Earth levels in Doom 2. Because Doom 2 is a really cool FPS with lots of like weird high concept levels, but then the Earth levels are just a gigantic empty box full of other boxes and like 1,000 enemies.
We played The Evil Within, and there's a point that you get to where it's just like, now you shoot everything. And
Which bit?
like, so it starts off very kind of survival horror-y, sneaky around, and then towards the end of the game, you're just like on gun turrets and stuff.
Yeah.
In a survival horror game, I don't want to be shooting too much. I want to be having to hide. And
But I feel like that wasn't so bad because at least the game was built with the capacity for you to play it that way. Whereas in the DLC, it's all stealth and hiding and distracting shit focused, but the game isn't built to work that way. So
Any stealth
you can choose
section,
to do it.
Any stealth
You can-
section in a non-stealth
So
game.
you can choose to play the main game stealthily if you want to.
But you've got options if it goes
You've got
to shit.
options if it doesn't work, whereas the DLC, you're just fucked if it doesn't work. You don't, and it's built. It's not built that way.
So mandatory stealth sections in otherwise action-focused
But having
games,
said
mandatory action scenes in otherwise stealth.
But having said that, obviously that's DLC, so it's not like it's an essential thing to do.
The bit in any like walky, boring section,
Yes.
like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, that bit where you just walk for like half a level because you get depressed, and it's like all you can do is slash once. I think you like that section.
I never said that.
That's that whole.
I'm sorry.
Walkie-talkie sections are always
Walkie-talkie
awful.
sections.
I might have said before that I understand the segment because effectively your character is having a nervous
It
breakdown.
doesn't make any sense that he is breaking
It
down.
doesn't make any sense that he's breaking down, but he is having the nervous breakdown, so it makes sense in that
But
regard.
it's not fun to play.
I agree, it's not fun to play at all.
If you ever replayed Half-Life 1 and you just have to like make your own fun while all the characters are talking
Exactly.
and you're just trying to like... Or Half-Life 2 or any Half-Life game you have to replay.
Monster Hunter World, mandatory walkie-talkie segments and cutscenes that are unskippable when you don't give a fuck.
Monster Hunter
They're not
World.
levels, they're just things
Zora
that annoy you.
Magdaros.
Zora Magdaros is
which
a boring
you have to
fight.
do twice.
Yes.
I guess that's a level.
It's
That is
technically a level, yeah.
It's
The level is the monster. The monster is also incredibly boring. To the point where they decided that the only way they could make it interesting was to put
Beat
another
the
monster
Is
in.
that the big lava one?
Yeah,
It's the
beat,
big lava
beat the
dude,
monster
yeah.
by mining it.
You beat the monster by mining it and hitting its big, glowy weak point,
Fair enough.
which doesn't fight back.
Sections in games where like your controls are just made weird arbitrarily as well.
Like Diddy Kong in DK64.
Wait, why is
Fucking
Diddy
bastard.
Kong weird?
He is a bastard.
She hates
So
it.
there's parts to get some of Diddy
Take off your
Kong's
big mission.
bananas. You shut up.
It's true.
You have to do flight sections with his jetpack, but the mechanics of the jetpack are really weird, and you have to fly through circles, rings, which are two-dimensional.
Yeah.
So if you fly through them, but you fly through them from the side, it doesn't count. You have to fly through them from the correct angle, and you have to do it within about 20 seconds using this really janky mechanic. And I fucking love DK64, but I hate Diddy Kong.
You've made me remember now all of the weird bullshit minigames in Spyro the Dragon. Like the fucking collecting gears on the trolley and stuff, like all of
There's
the...
all sorts.
Here's just this weird minigame that's like 10 times harder than the actual game that you have to finish in order to get 100%.
A lot of people are going to say water levels in otherwise non-water focused games.
I like
I
a
don't
lot
like
of
water levels in Mario. A lot of people dislike Mario.
They're kind
water
of
levels.
dull, but they're not bad.
They don't have to be.
I'm
This is part of the
okay
thing
with
is-
underwater levels as long as there's not an oxygen meter.
Yeah, I mean that's slightly
If
different.
you're just like going, it's like
Water levels can be bad, but then they're rarely a point in the game where you think, I never want to play this part of the game.
I mean, it
again. It's just
depends.
something you have to
I'm
get
trying to think
through.
of games that I've given up on at certain points, but I have no patience. I give up on most games really easily.
What have I rage quit recently? Other than
Snake
Snake
Pass.
Pass, which I went back to. What did we... I put something else down because I was like, fuck this game.
yeah, I can't remember you uninstalled it.
Anytime the
Okay.
games arbitrarily just change rules on you, like when they break with established protocol and say now this is a thing. The Breath of the Wild has when you're infiltrating the Yiga Ninja clan
Stealth
place.
section in
Mandatory stealth
games.
section. There is no other point in the game where an enemy hitting you will one-shot you regardless
Yeah,
of what
that
you've
is
bad.
got and what you're
But
doing.
it's like in
And the game doesn't announce it either.
Yeah.
It just happens
But
to you.
in normal stealth games, it's like you get seen, and then there's an exciting sequence where you have to hide,
Yes.
and wait for the heat to cool off or whatever. And it's not. I mean, I know stealth in real life doesn't happen like that, but it's fun. Yeah. But in a lot of games that try and do like stealth sections, it's like you get seen, boom, you're just teleported back to the start.
Yeah, or you just have to watch a very annoying and long game over scene, which is what happens.
Wind Waker has that as well. Wind Waker has a terrible opening.
At least it tells you what's going to happen when you do it, though.
Yeah.
True.
Whereas Breath of the Wild, I seem to recall, does not fucking tell you that if they spot you and they hit you, you die. On the plus side, you can actually beat them. If you parry perfectly.
It does say you're not gonna they're gonna fuck you up.
It doesn't say you can block. No. It doesn't say you can't block, and you can any other time you see those enemies, you can block them.
I think you can kill them as well.
You can if you parry them. Yeah. I mean, you can do that as well, but it's more that those enemies, if you've seen them before, they don't behave the way inside that building that they do elsewhere in the game.
But fortunately, that's a very, very short segment.
It is, which is very fortunate. I don't want to do it again, though.
Yeah, it was a bit silly for them to do that.
There's probably a lot of escort missions as well in games. That
People always complain about escort missions, but I don't play games that have them in. So
same.
I don't mind them all the time. Resident Evil 4, I don't mind escorting Ashley around. She's at least interesting, and she helps, and she does things, Yeah. Your escort you think your escorting has to do things.
Anything from you, Mitch?
There's no levels in this game, but Dead Rising, the game's on an active time limit, and missions come up incrementally, but towards the end of the third day, there's a big stretch of about, I don't want to know, probably 45 minutes, maybe more, that nothing is happening in the game. You just have to wait for the next case to open. Yeah. I think it's there so that you can go out and farm zombies so that you can maybe get a reward at the end of the game. But if you've already got that reward, there's no point for you to do so. So you might as well just play Mega Man X on Frank's watch, which isn't a feature, but that's what you could do if you have an emulator running at the same time. And that's when I realised Mega Man X was not a good video game.
Mega Man X doesn't have any terrible levels, but it also doesn't have any great levels. Unlike Mega Man X2, which is amazing. It has a level where you're inside a giant alligator.
That sounds cool.
Oh, any game that has a boss rush stage.
Oh, fuck boss
rushes.
I
like boss rushes. I like boss rushes.
I understand the joy of them, and it's just having to fight them over and over before I finally crack it. I understand that if you play the game regularly, you can learn the patterns, whatever, and it's not that big of a deal.
It's just stalling for time.
I think it matters more if they aren't checkpointed well.
I like a boss rush if I can see the progress I've made from the start of the game when I fought these bosses, and I can beat them all, and I can be like, look how much stronger I am. Or if something changes about them. But Okami, you fight the same fucking boss 3 times.
I was going to say, in Mega Man, it's like, okay, so on the one hand, I got here and I'm better at them now and I can beat them fast. On the other hand, I need this one kind of ammo for the final boss, and I'm not going to fucking waste it on the boss rush. And then if I do waste it, I don't have it anymore. And it's like, why have you made me do this? But on the other hand, I'm remembering Okami, and I'm remembering there's a spider boss in that game, and if you do the optional content in Okami, by the time you get to the boss rush, you fought it 3 times.
It's Orochi you fight 3 times. First,
it's Orochi.
He's a snake.
You fight it again in the past, and then you fight it as part of the boss rush.
Oh god! You fight the spider 3 times as well.
Not
the spider once in the main game, and then once in the optional content as well. And there might be a 3rd spider boss fight. I don't remember.
Not that this is an example of a good game, but it is an example of that exact scenario.
Yeah.
Skyward Sword and the Imprisoned.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Skyward Sword has...
No one likes the Imprisoned.
Skyward Sword has... Happy Man's not here to defend it, so we can just say there's...
So it's got the Imprisoned.
The Imprisoned is
even he doesn't defend the Imprisoned.
3 times.
It's got compulsory stealth.
Yes.
You have to fight Girahim twice, you fight the Scorpion twice.
You fight the pirate twice.
Fight the pirate twice, yeah.
Girahim you fight 3 times, actually.
You do, yes.
Yeah, but
twice, and then the
third time is actually different, but it's fun.
Also,
the first 2 times are the same.
The main problem with that game is all enemies have the same attack pattern, which is I'm going to block in a direction and you're going to hit me, and if you don't, then I'm going to hit you from that direction. All semi-bosses, all trash mobs, everything does it the same way. That's the main problem with that game.
They didn't work out how to make it okay, I'm swinging the Wii remote and it can't bounce off something, so how do I do sword combat? Future games had a better solution to that.
Devil May Cry, prior to 5 and DMC, anything involving jumping and platforming.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anything involving platforming.
There's still an annoying bit in DMC5 towards the end.
No, but
of it.
at least there's momentum and you can aid
There's-
yourself with the jump.
DMC5 is a lot more forgiving
It's a
with
lot
jumping at this point. They
fucking
give
better.
you more jumps, they give you more dashes in the air, they give you the air torn at any point, which acts as a third jump.
Screw you for making me remember Turok.
Turok, yeah.
You want to jump on this like really thin platform floating in a giant
Yeah.
thing of fog where you can't see your feet. You can't even look down in
Yeah.
the N64 Turok. You just gotta go for it.
I guess that's anything, again, genre switches, anything where like jumping is a tool rather than a traversal method, turning into a traversal method.
Bosses in Super Monkey Ball Banana.
Jumping in Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz.
Hold on, Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz.
Yes.
That's for a bad games in otherwise good
Franchises.
series conundrum, which will I'm sure come up. But yeah, Super Monkey Ball can go on there. And we can talk about all the same things we talked about again, like Skyward Sword and Mega Man X4.
Fuck you! Mega Man X4 is the best one!
It's the best.
Parts of games that are just
It's the
awful
best
and
one if
never
you
want to play
play
again.
video games for the sprite art
so-
and not the actual game.
I don't know if any of you have played Nier. Nier is.
I want to. I want to play Nier.
No. Nier is not a good game.
Yeah, but I like
At all,
games
still.
like it. I like games that are jank and bad, but have ideas behind them.
Okay, but when you get to the end of Nier, you have to replay it again to get another ending,
Yes.
and then again to get another ending. And I just like
There are differences, though. get
there's
the ending.
barely any difference
In
It's-
games like that, I play it once and then I watch the alternate things on YouTube, which is what you
But
should do.
The alternate things are like another 10 hours of gameplay.
Yes.
And
Of
I
the
was
same
just-
game that you
I just
played.
rage quit. I was just like, I'm sick of going through the same rooms, killing the same fucking enemies in the same way I did the first time I played through this game. Fuck this.
But there's still interesting questions and mechanics that happen in the endings that make it worth getting through. But I don't want to spoil them because if you are interested in playing
I'm not
one-
going to play it. So.
But for cats who might
Is this
want-
Automata or Nier Original?
I'll probably play it if it ever
original.
gets
The
fucking
original.
ported to the PC.
Automata is alright.
I mean, Automata does have a mechanic. Does people care about Automata spoilers at this point?
I mean,
Yeah.
it does the same thing, but you play as a different character, so it's actually
I mean-
different.
I don't want to...
The hacking gets boring.
There's an ending which forces you to then replay the game from scratch again.
No, you don't.
Isn't there one
No,
that
you
forces
you just finish the game and it deletes your save data.
That's what I thought. It just forces you to restart your save. If you want to get the other endings after that point, you
yeah,
then
but
have
the
to
other
restart
endings
it
after
from
that are all
scratch.
jokes. There's like 26 endings.
Oh, so that's the
Yeah.
final.
Only
Is that the
four-
final standard?
Only
There's-
4 of them matter.
There's
Okay.
6 endings.
If that's the final normal ending, I thought that was like the second final ending.
I have two parting thoughts. Number one is like hacking minigames are almost never good in my opinion.
Pipe
Or
dream.
lock-picking minigames.
No,
I've never-
I like lockpicking.
I've never understood
And I
how
like the-
lock-picking
I like the
minigames
hacking in
work.
Deus
Ratchet and
Ex.
Clank had a good one.
Human Error Revolution. I
What
like
was
the
your
hacking.
Ratchet & Clank's one?
Yeah, like you turn some dials.
I didn't like the
I
dial
always
turning
liked
one.
that
I liked the one on the big ball.
I don't mind the hacking mini game in Fallout 3/76, where you're having to guess words based on how many you've already got.
That was tiresome.
I mean, I don't mind it. At least it's more engaging than fucking Pipe Dreams.
I like the pipe game in Bioshock,
Yeah.
but I get bored of it by the end of
Doesn't make any
Yes.
sense
Yeah.
when what you're doing to hack.
Everything is water powered, man.
So,
You send the water.
I get it, everything's water
I guess related is mechanics that outstay their welcome. So, Alien Isolation's
hiding.
doing anything. I mean,
Doing
hiding is one
anything.
thing. Doing anything, like opening a door in that game, requires you to do like a 3-stage QTE.
But that's
And
just games that go on for too long.
That it is, but it specifically gets very annoying because that mechanic is just overused for absolutely everything. And I understand why it's done. They do it because it means that if you want to open a door, you actually have to spend some time to do it.
Yeah.
And spending time means that the alien or whoever can find you and get you. But the specific mechanic of doing the exact same thing over and over again just gets
Do you think
very
it's
tiresome.
better in Amnesia where the doors are like a physics object that you have to physically pull and...
I don't... busy work, I guess. It's the same busy work that you always do. I don't think that's quite so bad.
I mean, if you do something more than like 20 times in a game, there should be a very short animation for it.
But they don't want that in Alien Isolation because the whole
Yeah.
point is that if you want to open the door, you have to spend a resource, which is
Again,
time.
that's just because the game is too long, and horror games are
Yeah.
the worst for being too long, because if a horror game is too long, it stops being scary.
Horror games should be short.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
play them very often, but that's my general.
They should be
Yeah,
short.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
problem.
Otherwise, they
Amnesia
just
had.
lose their impact.
Shall we move on from Conundrum?
There'll be a new game plus for Loigo where you play as the same character but in a salmon pink shirt.
I enjoy
But
that.
the game will insist that it'll be completely different, but it's just the same.
Will it force you to go through tutorials again?
Yes.
Can you, if there are no tutorials, can you put some tutorials in for the second time?
No, there's no tutorials in the game.
Then can you put some in for the second time round in New Game Plus? Can you have a very long, this is
But
your
they-
New
they
Game
make
Plus
mechanics
tutorial?
that don't matter.
I
or
thought about
happen.
including a single sign in the game where if you read it, it says press up to read a sign, and then there's no more signs anywhere.
I would quite like there to be a single tutorial when you start New Game Plus about the fact you're playing New Game Plus,
That'd be good.
and it ignores any like text speed options
Just
you've got and does it
you
very
start
slowly.
playing, and 2 seconds after you start the game, one of those text boxes that fills the whole screen comes up and says, "You are now playing New Game Plus," and it just shows like your.
I would quite like it to be very slow text while an enemy behind the text box walks
Gets
very slowly
slowly.
towards the player character,
God,
and it ends just before the enemy's going to hit you.
You're vindictive. You know
Yes.
that?
Not as vindictive as you, however, with those
no,
Trundle boys.
I am. Well, the Trundle boys aren't vindictive. I'm vindictive when playing the Settlers of Catan.
You weren't vindictive
You're
enough.
vindictive when playing any multiplayer game. You just invent some slight. that
It's
someone
okay
makes on
though.
you.
The person he's most vindictive to is still himself.
Yes, it is a form of self-punishment the way I play multiplayer games.
I have a conundrum that we can kind of segue into. If you
Go on.
What is a mechanic in a video game that appears in multiple video games without any right to have existed in the first place? My prime example is when you're on an elevator that doesn't move if there's too many people on it, so you've got to kill enemies.
Or too much weight and stuff.
Too much
Right.
weight, yeah.
I like that. I think.
I mean,
think
double
it's a-
jumping.
I think it's a weird mechanic that just
Double
comes.
jumping's a
It,
good
one. I like
it
double
comes up
jumping.
way too often in video games. It's like it's a weird one. But
Elevators, I mean, that
If you
shouldn't,
don't
be a
like double
thing.
jumping, you're
How
wrong.
many games have an elevator where it doesn't move if
I can
there's
only
a
think
weight?
of
Oh, so many. Resident Evil 4.
Because there's
Resident Evil
Silent
4.
Hill, there's Resident Evil.
Kingdom
Metal Gear
Hearts
Solid.
has a section like
Okay.
that. which
Metal Gear
has-
Solid.
Silent
does.
Hill, Silent Hill.
yeah.
Is it 2? I think it's Silent Hill 2. You
Yeah.
have to empty all your pockets to use an elevator in the hotel.
Oh, I thought you
What?
meant it stops when enemies are on it. I was like,
no,
what?
it's you have to empty your pockets. So it's
Devil
like
May
a-
Cry has it as a
That's
recurring
bullshit.
thing
Yeah,
where
Devil
enemies
May
will
Cry
jump
has
onto a lift as you're going up it and it will stop. Devil May Cry 3 has it, Devil May Cry 4 has it, I believe, as well.
Definitely, yeah.
I think, yeah, 4 does.
But yeah, there's
Yeah,
a game in
so
a Kingdom
I
Hearts
can't
game
remember if
where
5 does. I don't think 5 does.
in Kingdom Hearts there's a timed one, and if you don't get to the goal in time because you haven't killed the enemies fast enough, you go back to the start of the elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, DMC3 does that, and that's one of its special
Well,
missions.
that's just like games that do things that don't make sense. Like, do this in this time or it doesn't work. Why do I have to do it in this time? There's
Just say so.
If it needs to be done in this time, put a bomb that's ticking down there, or I'll be.
I find it a really weird. It's like how developers originally came up with like the water level concept to slightly change things to add a bit of variety. It's like mechanics that come up way more often than other ones that you're
But
like,
They just seem to be
like-
entrenched in the industry for
I
some
like
reason that you're
the,
not sure.
the video game cliche lexicon. Oh, here's the crumbly platform. Here's the door that goes whoosh. You know, it's like, oh, I get this. I see it and I understand what the developers are trying to say. And the levels can be mechanically different. But if I see a crumbly platform, I'm like, okay, I know where I am.
I understand that that's
I
going to
don't need-
collapse when after a set time
Yeah,
after I've
I
stood
don't
on it.
need to be taught anything new.
Yeah.
That's why the cliches are
that's
there.
understandable with a lot of things, but this is like a very much more niche cliche, but
Yeah.
it comes up more than you'd think it.
So,
What other niche cliches? have
double
we got?
jumping.
No, double
That's not
jumping.
niche.
Double jump.
But
But it is a weird
It is a
thing.
very
No.
odd thing. I mean,
There
I
has
understand
been-
it.
There has been a contingent of people on the internet who are like, double jumping is bad. And
I don't think
if
that at all. I
that's your
love double
opinion-
jumping.
If
I
that's
adore
your
it.
opinion, then stop listening and just throw your phone or laptop out the window and then double jump out of the window.
I like double jumping, but I don't understand why it's
What
there.
was the first game to have a double jump?
I don't
Mario.
know.
No,
No, I
that's
mean,
not.
I'm inclined to say it'd be something like Joust because you can keep flapping, but that's not really
not a
double
double
jump.
Sonic 3, there's a power up, the electric
shield allows you to double jump.
Sonic 3 is in like 1994.
That's 90. I feel like there's going to be double
There
jump
must have been
way before that.
That's
Kid Icarus?
one
Do you
I
get
can
double jump
remember.
in Kid Icarus? Kirby?
Kirby can just like
He can
instantly
fly
jump.
though. That's not.
He
Not
flies
double jump.
specifically.
Metroid?
No, Metroid 1 doesn't have any double
Is it
jumping.
not
It's not got a
screw
space jump. It's got a screw attack though.
Yeah, she
I
doesn't
tell
double
you
jump.
what.
She's like a
Double jumping
Yeah, yeah.
is more common in 3D platformers than 2D ones.
Yeah.
That's because you need the extra, like, I need to position myself in 3D.
Yeah.
The thing, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of.
Halo.
No.
Halo.
I mean, that's the first video game, as we all know.
That's true.
Titanfall.
Titanfall's got it.
2, good game.
Titanfall's got it.
Titanfall is in my conundrums of video games that shouldn't have been good but were.
Unexpectedly.
Like The Mummy
Titanfall
Returns
2.
on the Game Boy.
Titanfall 2 is the good one. Titanfall 1 technically isn't that good.
Crafting is one of these weird mechanics that's just taken off. And
That's
doesn't
just because it's
It
popular.
doesn't deserve to be in as many games as it's in.
It's
but-
just a way to it's just that in the old days you'd have grinding and be like 100 hours of gameplay and 40% of that would be grinding, but now it's like 100 hours of gameplay.
No,
and
it's
40%
200.
So is this just
40% of that is in a crafting menu.
Yeah.
What about Ubisoft Towers?
Ubisoft
you
Towers.
climb up a tower. to
Breath of the Wild did them well.
Yes.
It did.
Because
I mean, it
because
does-
it's added mechanics like the paraglider that means that when you're in the tower you have like an advantage. You can go to the places you've seen.
And they were like
There's a-
little puzzles.
It's
There's a reason to climb up the tower.
I think that the key with this conundrum is there are solutions without problems. There are then problems that have had solutions developed for them that everyone then uses. The Ubisoft Tower is the solution to the problem, which is we have a big open world.
Nothing.
How do we direct the player to find things within
Yeah,
it? You
how
climb
do
the
we
Ubisoft
show them
Tower,
something
you
in the
sync your
distance
map
that's
with it and
interesting?
it shows you the stuff in the area.
Yeah.
Or you can see the stuff in the area.
That's true.
That's the problem with a solution. There are then solutions without problems that people like.
There's solutions to problems in the past that people just keep putting into games.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That don't really apply
I'm not
anymore.
naming any names here, but I will name a name, which is Hideki Kamiya. Next.
Collecting 100 of a thing to get an extra life.
Yeah.
Again,
actually, yeah.
people are angry at lives. I like.
I don't mind lives. I don't have any issues with it, but arbitrarily, it's 100 of anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lord guy, I'll make it 87.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
It used to be point scores though, didn't
Make
it?
it
It was every
69.
10,000 points.
In the initial arcade thing, it would be points. Yes. I'm dying, babe.
You know,
I'm dying.
I find weird is like when you've got a live system and a continue system. Why not just have more?
They're two different ways to gate progress. Like the live system can be for checkpoints,
Yes.
and then the continues can be for like levels.
level, yeah.
Depends on the game.
I don't play NES games where if you run out continues, you go back to the start of the game.
Ooh,
I don't play them.
I thought
I mean-
a weird mechanic from I think both in Donkey Kong Country and in Crash Bandicoot, you can only save at certain points, and once you've saved, you can't go back to that.
Absolutely not. I disagree with that, and you're correct for calling it
Yes.
out. I hate that so much.
It saves that
Or I hate
require a currency.
Paying for
Yes.
saves, like in Resident Evil.
Well,
Resident
no, I
Evil
don't mind
makes
Resident
sense.
Evil, but Donkey Kong Country.
Why do you have to pay for saves with fucking coins in Donkey Kong Country?
that does make sense.
I understand it in a survival horror game because it
It's a resource.
It can make
limited
it tense.
resources.
Limited
It's
resources.
raising
Survival
tension, but in
horror is
Donkey-
resource management.
But in Donkey Kong,
The game is just
Don't need
not
that.
It's on like
respecting
Donkey
my
Kong.
time. It's like Donkey Kong, I've got things to do. I need to save so that I can do my laundry. My towels are smelly, Donkey Kong.
And in-
I sniff them and they smell like wet hair.
I think the
But I
life.
can't wash them.
in Crash as well, you'll leave secret levels uncompleted so you can go back and do them later just to get a save.
Yeah.
And it's like that's hurting you because you don't get the lives you get from the secret level. You can't enter it after
I mean, at least they're in every level in Crash. It's not a complete.
Every level.
Every level has a special area in it where you can save. I'm pretty sure that every single level has one. At least in the remake I was playing recently. they
I've
did.
never 100%ed a Crash game because they're a pain in the ass.
Crash
100%.
I've done
It's
Crash
like,
3.
oh, you jumped over this pit and now you can't go back and get the single box you missed.
You have to do the level
But,
again in
like,
that case.
But like,
Yeah.
there's like gems that spawn, but the positions of gems that spawn, at least in the first game, are contingent on where you found gems in the other levels.
So
Yes.
Well, no, you
that's
have to
to
find like
encourage you
previous
to go
like
back.
coloured gems in
Yeah.
order to
It's like
unlock
the
another area
switches in
again
Mario World.
ahead.
It's like the switch.
It's Switch Power
It's like
System,
Switch
You don't know what order you're supposed
but
to
they're
grab.
less
Worse.
impactful because they don't apply to multiple levels most of the time. I mean,
Dude, Crash Bandicoot wasn't good.
I like Crash Bandicoot, but I don't know. I don't think it's bad.
Crash Bandicoot was 3D Mario.
It's 3D. It is.
No,
It
it's
was.
it's you
It's
run
on a
along a track. Yeah.
It was
But
supposed to be
that
Sonic's
is-
ass. Remember?
It's Mario's ass. It's
It is,
Mario from behind rather than from the side.
Yeah, but the thing about Mario is that there's lots of interconnected elements in Mario, whereas in Crash Bandicoot is you hop over a gap. And the game progresses with you hopping over increasingly small gaps.
That's true.
And there's never any of the fun like movement and momentum.
Yeah.
I
that you
don't.
get in
I feel like
Mario.
Crash 1 has that problem, but Crash 2 onwards tends not
But
to.
Crash
because they
2,
increase-
Crash 2 onwards are good and Crash 1 isn't.
I think.
Yeah, onwards
That's fair to
they
say,
they fix
but-
a lot of the issues. In
I think
2 and
Crash
3.
1 was more of a
That's their
prototype
first
because it's a
go.
technical
Yeah.
demo more than anything else, but it does work.
The problem with Crash 1 was it was trying so hard to be Mario from behind that it didn't do anything
No.
fun at all, really.
There are some levels that have some interesting elements to them, but the vast majority of them are.
Doubt.
I
There
mean,
are some side levels in verticality.
there are side levels, there are vertical levels.
Annoying,
I know.
I mean, there are levels where you're running into or away from the screen, which obviously wasn't done really before.
I like
Crash 1
the
and then
levels
run
where you
away
run
from-
away.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the-
yeah. There's run away from the
Yeah,
boulder.
run away from the boulder.
Run
right?
away from the boulder and
That
run
shit was
forwards on the
always
pig.
Run away from the boulder is good. On the pig's bad.
I
It's-
I love when a game is like you're going to run forward and you can just move left and right and jump. And it's
But again, this is genre change. This comes back to our
love
earlier
Sonic
conundrum, which is genre
Unleashed.
change. But,
and when it does it well.
Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Seven
Don't-
rings in
I'm going to defend Sonic and the
Oh
Secret
my
Rings.
God.
Okay,
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
I'm not going to defend the
I'm-
execution. I'm going to defend the idea because the problem with 3D Sonic is there's too many degrees of freedom. What Sonic and the Secret Rings, they're like, we're going to remove some of that. We're just going to have you run along a track, and that means you can go a lot faster and react to
I
stuff a lot
completely agree.
faster.
I really
So
like
did you
Sonic
like?
and the Secret
Did you like Shadow the Hedgehog? Did you like Sonic Heroes? Because they do that there as well.
No, they don't.
They do.
Sonic Heroes is like, you fell into a pit.
No, it's one long track, and there's platforms and enemies that you need to
No,
get
it's
across.
not the same in
You're
Sonic
right.
Heroes because you're not.
It's-
The track doesn't like scroll with you. You have to walk along the track manually, which is the problem. You can't do platforming in 3D Sonic because the things you have to stand on or hit are very small compared to the overall size of everything. And in Sonic,
No, not in
and in
Heroes.
Sonic and the Unleashed, Sonic and the Unleashed, Sonic and the Secret Rings, that's not a problem because you're on the track and it's basically like 2D. But the problem is the game sucks and the motion controls
Yeah.
are so bad, and everything about the game is
Well,
bad.
do I have a game for you that has less motion control? Sonic and the Black Knight.
I didn't even look at that one. I didn't even. That's
I-
the kind
I
of
like
game that you would pass in a Tesco at 3:00 in the morning, and you wouldn't even make eye contact with
Like
it,
that
even though you
shopping.
recognised it.
Mechanics that don't seem to like have any that are still present with us. Lives. I don't mind lives if they're considered into the game's design,
Extra guy.
but I'm going to use Donkey Kong Country here. The new Donkey Kongs. They have lives.
Yeah.
They pepper you with so fucking many of them that they don't matter anymore.
Yeah, true.
And they are effectively there to give you an alternate reward to just plain bananas
Yeah.
and coins. So they give you them like if you're playing Donkey Kong Country Returns or Tropical Freeze and you haven't got more than 50 or 60 lives,
Yeah.
you're basically just not playing the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. It's
Because they
But
they
like-
just pepper you with so fucking many of
Super
them.
Mario Bros. As well. You've always got 99.
I've played a lot of games though where the developers made it too hard initially, and they were like, "Okay, we'll just add a shitload of lives." Like, there's an
Yeah.
indie game on Steam that I won't shut up about called Rex Rocket, which is
I've never heard of
unbelievably difficult. And to compensate, the developers were just like, you know what, you can have infinite lives, and now the game's still really good, but it's also broken. Because all the checkpoints and stuff they designed are now useless because you have unlimited lives
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's just one of those weird things where it keeps being included in particularly 2D platformers. I don't think it's really required anymore. Like you checkpoint if you want, put lives in if you want. Just design something that takes both into account.
Yeah, you have to say, this is how much progress you should lose when you do this.
Yeah.
You have to have a clear idea.
I
of
mean, like Donkey Kong Country, like there are multiple checkpoints throughout levels. Unless you're playing hard mode where there are no checkpoints, but if you're playing hard mode, you've already beaten the game, thus your lives count really is irrelevant.
But if I'm playing a game with like normal size, like 4 or 5 minute levels or stages or areas or whatever, and I die to something and the game's like, go back to the previous level, then I uninstall it.
I mean, Donkey Kong Country does that in hard mode. It just makes you do like a 4 to 5 minute level. If you die right at the end of a hard mode level, you're just back to the start again.
Checkpoints are interesting. I got pissed off when we were playing Snake Pass because you have to go walk over, well, slither over a checkpoint to activate it, which is fine. But then if you gain some progress and then don't slither over the checkpoint again when you die, you lose that stuff. So if you do multiple challenges to get multiple orbs, which don't actually matter in the game at all anyway,
You have to go back to the checkpoint every single time.
Go back to the checkpoint after collecting it if you were worried about losing your progress. There was a bit where I rage quit the game because I had been trying to complete a platforming challenge and it was too difficult for me, and I'm a baby. But because I failed the challenge, I was sent back to the checkpoint, which took me like 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even more, to get back to where I was because of the slow nature of the platforming.
Yeah, and it's like, it's stuff you've already done and stuff you know how to do.
Now.
I have different feelings about Snake Pass.
Oh yeah.
I really like Snake Pass, and also I'm very much like I'm someone who saves after literally every single thing that I do. And with a game like that, the joy of it is meant to be in playing with the movement. So for me, if you get like one of the collectibles that's on a really, really difficult obstacle, for me part of the fun is to be like, okay, I'm gonna go and slither back and save that progress. And getting joy out of the movement that way.
And you didn't do it.
No, with Specs, he gets a thing. He takes 5 minutes doing the same thing over and over to try and get a thing. And when it's like overhanging ledges, because the way the Snake passes is like floating islands in the sky.
Yeah.
So if you get something on the bamboo that's hanging over, you have to then get back up onto land.
He fails on the way back.
He fails on the way back, but after he finally gets it, he doesn't go and save. He's like, I'm going to try and get the next one that's also hanging off the edge.
That's true, but also the bit that made me rage quit was a bit where there wasn't a checkpoint after one platforming challenge. So if I failed, I had to go back. And it was just to make progress. We eventually stopped going after the collectibles because we found out they don't unlock anything unless you 100% the game.
Cool.
And I understand the idea of going back to the start of a level or a section so that you relearn that platforming to do it better. In, say, Mario, if you keep dying at the end of a world in Mario, say, you can speedrun the previous levels.
Yeah.
Same in Lawyer Guy, you get further.
So I was going to talk about, because I had this problem in Lawyer Guy where if you died at the end of the level, you'd have to replay the start of the level, and at some point you got really good at the start of the level, and it was then boring to you.
Yeah.
So I added bonuses for doing the early parts of the level really well, so that it would still be fun to you to do the early parts, because it would be like you're racing the clock
and it is
now.
really good. In Snake Pass, even if you have perfect movement, it can take like a minute to just cross like 3 bits of bamboo to get across a gap to the bit that you actually want to do. And there was 2 sequence of bamboo trellises I had to get past that I'd already done to get to the bit I was stuck on. So I got very upset and I shouted, "Fuck this game!" and I closed it. And I went back to it later and I did it. And it wasn't too hard, and we'll play it again because I do actually like the game. But checkpoints can be difficult, is what I think.
It's weird.
I feel like this maybe plays into a part of your personality, which I think is linked to your... I have lost 100 health. No, I've lost 120 health. I have here in my possession an item that will heal 100 health. I am going to choose not to use this item that will heal me by 100 health. And then I will take the rest of this damage, which will then kill me.
And then I'll complain.
And then I'll complain that's bullshit, that one-shot me. Why did it one-shot me?
No, I wouldn't complain that it one-shot me, but... I am very averse to healing when there's like a finite resource. However, in Snake Pass, in this particular bit, there was not a way for me to save my progress where I got to. So I did have to replay that challenge each time. And eventually, actually, I skipped one of the platforming challenges that it was asking me to do because I watched a speedrun that showed you how to slither up a wall that you're not supposed to be able to slither up, just so I could skip that bit because I was bored of it.
The optimal amount of progress to lose is like 5 minutes. If you lose more than that, then the game's being
this
jerk.
was 5 minutes, but it was a slow 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I love snakes, and I love elastic rods,
My
and I
main-
love physics games, but Snake Pass was too
Yeah.
slow for me.
I like Snake Pass aside from the Rumble.
Rumble. The Rumble.
I think that's more of a.
I think it
you
might
can
be my
turn Rumble
controller.
off, you know.
So I couldn't find anything in the options. to
Was
turn
it just
off.
constant
So
rumble?
no, but if so, there's a mechanic where you can grip. So
Yes.
if you need to try and reach a higher thing, but with my controller, maybe it's something wrong with my controller.
It's your
The entire time you're gripping, it's going,
I did not have that.
and it's very loud.
Didn't have that.
And your hands
I-
are
Furthermore, I don't like Rumble and I turn it off. I'm very
I
sorry.
played the demo of Snake Pass on the Switch, and it uses the HD rumble, and it was very loud.
very loud, very distracting.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't play it on Switch, so.
So I just didn't use that mechanic while playing Snake Pass because I don't want to deal with Rumble.
I want to move on to the next segment because we've been
Yeah.
talking about Snake Pass for ages, and why are we taking deep?
Well, we haven't. It just.
I'm not
collapsed
playing
about
We were
20 minutes in the
talking. We were
middle.
talking about
Dry.
areas and things we like that we.
I want
Yeah.
to
Not
hear
Sonic for
Moogle.
ages.
I'm sorry. I want to hear Mitch's complaint about the gaming section.
Oh fuck!
The Metro newspaper.
Metro-
Can I use
So-
your computer to go onto the website?
Oh, I love
So,
this. Yeah.
For reference, people not from the UK, Metro is like, it's basically the newspaper that you get on a bus.
For
and
free.
it doesn't, it's free. It doesn't really say anything. It's just something for you to read that's better than staring out of a window and looking at dismal concrete buildings.
But anyway, we're not talking about the newspaper. We're talking about the website, which is basically the newspaper if the newspaper didn't have a page limit. There are endless articles, categories, everything you can fucking think of. If it has happened on this planet, or if it didn't happen, the Metro will tell you what has happened. But the problem is that because they need so much content so that you're constantly looking at it, what they'll do is they'll have readers features or people to write in to like share their own opinions, and that's what's happened with the gaming inbox. They publish, people email in an inbox their fucking shitty opinions and then they publish it and then they think it's fucking content.
Mitch, can you tell us why you came to know about it?
I know about this website because when I try to slack up at work, lots of gaming websites are fucking filtered out. So this is one of the only few that allow me to read video game news at work. And I also enjoy my anger, so I like going there. So one of the recent storylines or opinions that are being shared and repeated over and over again on this shitty website is that games that are from PS2 or before are unplayable and ugly, and that every game needs to be remade.
I mean, we've got enough games now. We can just remake the same ones we have instead of making new ones.
We've been doing that anyway.
But I mean, games get remasters from one console generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like The Last of Us remastered. What's
came
that
out
about?
Uncharted's got remasters. Last of Us has got
The Ratchet and
remasters.
Clank trilogy.
I understand
remastered
the
for
thinking
PS3
behind those
and
to an extent, because the PS3, despite being, I guess, a major console, didn't sell as well as Sony had wanted to. The PS4 has sold like fucking hotcakes. It makes sense to a degree for them to capture the Xbox audience who
What I
didn't buy
hate
PS3.
is when people are like, "Oh, get it on PS4 as well because it'll be better," and it's like you already played it, and it's just gonna have a slightly higher definition. It'll display.
There are
in true
times when I
1080
understand it. There are
versus
times when I understand it.
Most
There are times when I
remasters,
don't.
though, most remasters are worse than the original.
Yeah,
True.
oftentimes.
Like, a lot of the times, there's so many issues with remasters and fucking with the draw distance and drawing things that weren't supposed to be drawn. It pisses me off.
There are a couple of good studios who really do their jobs properly and know what they're about when it comes to remakes and remasters.
Is it Blue Point that did all the
Blue Point, I think, are very good. Grezzo, depending on your pronunciation, I guess, on the 3DS space.
I mean,
are very
so
good.
Grezzo never take any risks ever with the source material.
No, they don't really. I mean, but at least they make a very competent one that performs better and looks better than its
I'll
predecessor.
tell you what pisses me off, right? Before the Mega Man Legacy Collection came out, the company that made it like, no, it's not emulators. It's not emulators.
Yeah,
the
that's-
games are ported. It's a special new game environment that we've developed where they're ported and they'll have new features added to them. And it came out and it was a fucking emulator with save states built into it.
Grezzo also, when they did the Majora's Mask remake, they changed the Deku jumping physics.
Yeah,
for
they
the Deku Mask, and it was worse. So
They changed loads of weird things in that remake.
They changed the
Majora's
Zora
Mask.
swimming Made it shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worse. And they changed the boss fights, and they're not necessarily better.
They all have eyeballs
just
now.
goes on for
Yeah.
way too long, apparently.
It would have been.
So, what's an example of a game being called unplayable? that
Silent
ended-
Hill was one of their main ones because there's rumours that Konami are coming back with the Silent Hill.
Oh, so somebody
And-
writes in like, I want to play this because I tried Silent Hill and it's unplayable.
No, it's not.
I've never played Silent Hill, so I can't
It
comment.
was unplayable when I tried to emulate it.
That's because your computer.
Was Harry Mason a big box, a big cube?
Yes.
Yeah, I know that one. So they were basically talking about, I like Resident Evil 2 remake, the Shadow Colossus remake was really good, I wonder what Bluepoint are working on, maybe they're working on Demon Souls, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But here are the other ones I'd love to see that aren't quite on the same level as that aren't quite on the same level as Demon Souls or Dark Souls. Soul Reaver, Silent Hill, and Prince of Persia Sands of Time, plus a bunch of Nintendo games from the N64 era. Not only are remakes fun, but they're basically necessary to show why some classics are thought of that way. Silent Hill, for example, is basically unplayable now, but it's a fantastic game I'd love to see revamped.
But what?
Hold on.
It's unplayable, but it's also a fantastic game that they'd like to see revamped.
When they say it's basically unplayable now, do you think they just mean
Don't-
it's hard to get hold of a copy, or that it is?
Well, I've got another one.
I mean,
I've got another. Is this by the same person? It's not.
potentially.
Here's a different person because it tells you the name. In response from the letter from James regarding remakes, for me personally, it's all about the time and effort that developers put in. I can't say I'm all that interested in these so-called remasters that just add a new lick of new paint, but I'm all for updating classics that are often now unplayable due to graphics, early 3D games being the worst,
Okay.
or controls.
So that's what we're looking at.
Yes.
What do you think might be
So-
the reason?
I think people who say Silent Hill is unplayable will largely be due to graphics because it is very visually blocky compared to obviously newer games, especially with the amount of fog that's in
Yeah.
it as well, because obviously that's a large part of Silent Hill. That and the controls, but the tank controls I like.
I think
It's just a
I
different
I mean,
way
it's
of
an
controlling
over-the-shoulder tank, so ultimately it's not like Resident Evil where you have hard camera transitions and you're not sure how what your direction is going to go when you go through the thing.
There are
If
some
I'm
parts
going
of
forward,
it-
I'm going
Parts of it.
forward.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
parts of it that have hard camera, but
But a lot of it is over the shoulder,
Yeah.
and
I-
that's fine.
I think mostly people will be speaking from a graphic standpoint when it
Yeah,
comes to Silent Hill.
But again, okay, I don't know if this is either a controversial opinion or opinion that everyone has, but I like the sort of PS1
Yeah,
horror.
I do.
Absolutely.
They have their own artistry the same way that classic pixel art games do.
Exactly.
They're bad-looking 3D 32-bit games, but they're also good-looking ones. And Silent Hill is one of the best-looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, and I also think that kind of lower like that
Low
it
poly.
looks grittier.
Yeah.
It
Lower
looks more
fidelity
creepy.
means that your
Yes,
imagination
agree.
has to do some of the
Exactly,
work.
it looks more creepy, and the movement as well. Like, is it one or two where there's the nurse? I think it might be two actually.
two is
There's
the nurses, yeah.
the nu-
One has
There's
nurses
the
too.
nurse who,
Oh, does it? Okay.
not the creepy nurses, but there's the nurse who you speak to.
Lisa?
Was it Lisa?
Lisa.
And like she
Lisa.
has that moment where she just like starts
Yeah.
crying blood, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you see her
that's
as
one.
like as a character model in game, and she's like moving creepily and stuff like that.
That's one.
Like it lends itself really, really well to capturing creepiness.
Low frame rate kept
Yeah.
creepy
Yeah.
quite well.
I
Well-
feel. go on.
Go on. I was going to read, because as I said, I got so annoyed by seeing these comments.
Can I-
You sent
And
a
being at
comment
work
back,
and
didn't
having
you?
nothing better to do other than try and make a living, I decided to write in. So do you want to hear my response to
Yes,
this?
I do.
And see if you guys agree with this.
Did they publish your response?
They did. Because they're so lacking in content that even I can get fucking
They'll
published.
publish any idiot who writes it.
Yeah. So we'll read mine. This is distilled angry Animitch at work at like 11 in the morning, wanting to go home. So a lot of talk about games needing to be. I'll read this like it's one of my video specs. So I'll
you'll-
stutter and
you won't retake
No.
anything.
You'll forget how a human speaks.
One
really
take,
cadence.
one take.
Well, I have to because the memory will run out. A lot of talk about games being fuck.
Single take. Continue.
Do you want me to read it in my Animitch voice?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
A lot of talk about games needing to be remade because the older versions are unplayable. Silent Hill's been mentioned as a candidate for reconditioning. A game, in my opinion. A game, in my opinion, which is a masterpiece and damn near perfect. Saying you wouldn't attempt to play the game because the controls are different than the typical streamlined AAA control scheme you find in every game nowadays, or the game looks old even though early 3D games had their own artistry, the same with good pixel art from the generation prior. To me, it's like a film buff saying they wish older movies would be remade because they aren't in colour. If that's the case, then maybe you're into this medium for the superficial reasons, only wanting to play the next big thing and not caring about games preservation.
Oh, that was very consume content and move on to next content.
So,
My name is Animitch.
I had
and
two
I'm a
opinions listening
reviewer.
to the original letter that you responded to. Like, I think it was very ambiguous as to whether, when they said they are basically unplayable these days, as to whether they mean you can't get hold of it to actually fucking play it these days.
Yeah,
which
maybe.
is a potential reading, but either way, my opinion of the rest of the letter was, this is a person who, like many people, the vast majority of people who play games these days, will play them for the story once and then stop them.
The controls in some old horror games are, I believe, the lack of ease of control makes it scarier because you can't react as quickly to what's going on, and it's like, oh shit, I've got to turn around and I've got to go the other way, and I don't have the control I would need over my character to stop myself from being scared. Because I think a lot of the scariness of horror games is from you being in a situation where you think your character might die rather than because of a jump scare.
I agree, but the people who want these remakes badly are generally
just
going to
want
be the
jump
people who
scares.
don't care about that.
Yeah.
Well,
just before you carry
That's my
on,
opinion, and it might be pretentious.
From the standpoint of the games not being that easy to access, it's just not true. For like the examples of what they gave, because I have a hard copy of Silent Hill,
Yeah.
but I couldn't stream it. You can get it on PlayStation Store.
Absolutely.
It's so easy and it's so cheap.
It depends on the game that you're talking about.
It does.
In that particular instance.
Well,
Like, Silent
they
Hill
did
1 has
list
been
examples
well
like
preserved.
Silent Hill, Prince of Persia. What was the
all
other
ones
one?
that you can get
Like,
so easily.
There are some that I guess it depends, because the type of person who's likely to be writing, they aren't going to be the people who are willing to track down hard copies of the original games to play and care about having the hardware to play them. If they had a PS3 that could play it, they may well have just gotten rid of it when they bought a PS4, as an example. And you now can't buy that on the PS4.
Fuck people who won't play a game unless they can get an actual legal hard copy of it. If it's difficult to get a legal hard copy, just pirate it.
Yeah, but these are the people, type of people who write that letter aren't the type of people who are going to get an
Very
emulator, get a
stuff.
BIOS and download the ISO from what is effectively a really sketchy internet site.
Moogle. We don't download a BIOS. We rip the BIOS from our own consoles and we make our own soft copies of our hard copy games.
Sure you did, Specs. Sure
Or
you
preferably
did.
we use an emulator that doesn't need a BIOS.
Exactly. But the kind of people who are gonna be reading the Metro are not the
Fair
type of people
The
who are
kind of
likely.
people who'd be reading the Metro, the kind of people who'd Google The Mummy Returns Game Boy, and then they would download The Mummy Returns Game Boy.exe and run it on someone else's computer and give it full administrative privileges.
Thanks, Mitch.
I don't know, I think the kind of people who read the Metro have probably got a shitty Beatles haircut and a crap beard.
Oh my god. Are you talking about yourself?
It's not so much reading the Metro, because reading the Metro is fine. It's the type of people who will read the Metro and then specifically go to its gaming section.
Yes,
Hey,
yeah.
Specs, what kind of Beatle are you? Are you John, Paul, George, or Lemon?
He likes
He's
lemons.
a lemon.
He does like lemons.
He
He's
does
lemon.
like lemons.
He's a lemon.
He's
He's a
lemon. I want my place back, Mitch, because
Well, real quick.
I
'cause there's
desperately
more.
want to hurry us along to something
Alright,
more
I know.
We're
engaging.
going to talk about
The admin, or whoever runs the inbox, or I guess the authors of the site, responded to my letter specifically. So you want to hear their
They
response?
say,
Yes.
screw you, Animitch.
They said-
why don't you record good
they said-
voiceover for Operation Rainfall?
They said, Silent Hill is many things, but we wouldn't say perfect was one of them. The graphics were terrible even 20 years ago. The controls were never great, and all of the sudden logic puzzles at the end were very jarring. Games aren't like movies, and movies aren't like games.
Do I...
Games are trying to be
Here's-
like movies.
Okay, here's the problem.
Can you send me that person's information so I can personally hunt them down and assassinate
I can
down
give you
shit.
their...
I will go back to my house, in 2 days' time. I will find my copy of Edge magazine that reviewed Silent Hill, and I will find the segment where they talk about how much they adore the graphics and how good they are.
Okay, all right.
Because that's an enthusiast
Yeah.
gaming magazine.
But the day after I posted that, someone wrote in to respond to me. Do you want to read their response, Cats?
Yeah, I'll read their response. What kind of voice should I read it
I don't
in?
know anything.
Go on, tell me.
We're just like one.
Okay.
I don't see how wanting to replay a game I've enjoyed with updated graphics and controls or other additional features is superficial at all. There are plenty of other titles.
I'm just going to stop this now.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other titles that are still perfectly playable, such as the NES, SNES era Mario games, because 2D sprites look good. The vast majority of the early 3D games were hindered by the technology compared to modern games. I noticed the phrase clunky controls. It's difficult to make out everything clearly due to the graphics, and dying because of the clunky controls has never been much fun, has it? ! Plus, those who weren't old enough or weren't even born when the original was released aren't going to go and pick up a PlayStation 1. Play an emulator, my god. So it's a chance for new fans to appreciate a classic. I get that. Remake a game that no one likes.
I agree with
Remake Biomenace.
I agree with Mitch that the low poly sort of modelling on PS1 games has a charm of its own. I really quite like.
People are getting really into that now.
Well, it's going to have a renaissance.
It's going to have a revival, yeah.
I mean, look at all the indie games that come out. They're all shitty pixel shit indie games that all do like SNES era graphics, aren't they?
Yeah, like
We're going to move on to having shitty low poly graphics from the PS1 is the next thing.
It's already happening specifically in the horror genre.
Yeah, there's lots of horror
there's
games
a
like that.
specific person. It is a lot of jump scare games right now. I'll be honest with you.
It's a
But
lot
there's
of
the guy-
weird Itch.io
So there's the guy
games.
who made the Nun Massacre.
Yeah, that's what-
Also made loads and loads of other ones, but they have that kind of graphics to
They're
them.
not very
and
good, but
they're not very good.
It looks like it.
But they look
Try to, at
visually really, really cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd say was maybe a bit of a detriment to the old horror games on PS1 is like they're really kind of dark, which does make it hard to see. I mean, that's probably part of a horror game, but like muddy, you know? Like Silent Hill's quite a muddy game.
I do agree with one thing the person in the review said, which is that when I see a piano in a old horror game, I just look for a walkthrough immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
Bigger loot.
You just have to play piano.
Let's talk about the Doom movie and Rayman.
Oh,
God, I forgot we had
This is
We've
going
got
to be
to.
another hour.
Let's be
So
quick. Let's be
all
quick
we
with
need
the
to
Doom.
say about the Doom movie is the Doom 2005 was better.
That's true.
It ends in demon scream fade to black.
It's basically just things you've seen in other movies, but done with worse.
They only had enough budget for one imp costume, so
One colour.
and only one imp can be on screen at any one time. It's like if
There's
someone's trying to
one
run Doom
scene
on a
where there's
Telltale
multiple
game.
imps, but they're CG.
Yeah,
in.
there's CGI.
Yeah, but that's when they didn't care or
Yeah.
didn't need to worry about.
It's a really weird film because it starts you off by introducing you to all the characters, and none of their introductions matter. The main character has been reprimanded for fucking up her last mission. It doesn't matter. It comes up later, but it doesn't matter.
It means that her crew don't trust her anymore.
Her crew,
Yeah.
but they still interact with her.
It doesn't
just as
make
they
any
would have
difference.
done.
Yeah.
it
They're
doesn't
all
make
just
a
like
difference.
stock characters. Like,
Yeah.
here's the nerd, here's the cool action girl, here's the guy who will die in the first 5 minutes, here's an Australian. You can tell because he's annoying, etc.
We'll give you the highlights. So, at one point when they're gearing up, one guy says, "I'm gonna be your ultra nightmare."
They keep referencing things from the games in the least subtle ways possible.
I seem
And then
They said
to
Ultra-
recall that not only does he say he's the Ultra Nightmare, but then another character later on,
Yeah.
in a completely different scene, who wasn't present in that scene,
Yeah.
says that he's going to be someone's Ultra
Just in
Nightmare.
case you didn't catch the joke reference.
I
the
think it was
first
because
time.
they had two writers and they had a board of things they wanted to say, and it was like, oh well, they put
It was a
I'll put
Doom
it-
movie.
I
It's
feel
gotta
like they
have a
just forgot which
BFG
character
in
said it.
Yeah.
It's got to have a teleporter in it.
then like one
It's
of
got to
them.
have religious references.
One of
in
them
it.
pulls a super shotgun off the wall, and then later on they
chainsaw.
kill.
They pull a chainsaw.
They
off the
pull a
wall.
chainsaw. No, the chainsaw is when they're in the pipe room.
They still pull it off the wall.
And then they find a zombie who's called John Carmack, And then
Another zombie called Blazkowicz.
Yeah, they
Oh,
find a
God,
zombie
yeah.
Blazkowicz. And then there is there's a gun called the BFG 9000, which looks a lot like a plasma rifle and shoots
Which
a lot
isn't,
like
it's just a plasma rifle, but they do through the whole thing of it's the BFG 9000.
Yeah, they have this
but
like
we call
5-minute monologue.
We call
Yeah.
it the big fucking
So yeah,
gun.
Joan Dark,
Joan
the
Dark.
It took us a while to get the reference.
main character Joan Dark delivers
Joan Dark.
the line. We call it the big fucking gun in the most lackluster way you could possibly imagine
She
in
was
your
not
entire
I'm
life.
gonna be honest, the
Yeah,
actor sounds bored.
it
She
sounds-
sounds like she's like, oh man, I can't wait to get back to a spearmint
The
gun
only
advert.
way I can describe her performance was flaccid.
Can I do an impression? It's called the Biofluorescent Gun 9000, but we call it the big fucking gun.
Because she said we call it something else in the in the
I don't-
movie.
did they even explain what they call
then
it?
the guy goes, "What do you call it?" And she goes, "The big fucking gun." And like
Yeah.
you could have done some kind of interaction with them, like some cheeky little thing. 'cause
They
were
were
meant to be, like-
they were supposed to be past lovers, but they talk as if they're two
Brother
people.
and sister.
Well, no, they
strangers
talk,
in an
they
elevator.
talk as if they're two people who are.
Share a cubicle wall.
Yeah.
Like they're sitting next to each other in an airplane.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then
yes, exactly.
right at the
I'll
end
go
of the
with that.
film, after they've been through environments that look nothing like a Phobos moon base.
Well, no, all of the big fight scenes are just
They're in a
in
greenhouse
dirt.
or something.
No, they're in dirt.
Yeah.
There's a fight scene early when they're in what's supposed to be a greenhouse, which is a blank room with plants on one wall, and they're fighting in the dirt, and I'm like, okay, but then there's another fight in a room that's supposed to be a nuclear reactor, and somebody tackles somebody else, and they just fall over in dirt, and I'm like, why is there dirt in this room?
It's just sand everywhere.
It's one of their 3 sets in that movie.
I think you.
No,
you,
it's the one set that they just
I
redecorate.
think you
that's
summarised
terrible,
it very well
Pipes.
in that
The
all
ship-
of the sets look like they're in your local laser quest.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
movie looks like it was filmed in a laser
But
quest.
Jeanne d'Arc goes to hell at the end of the film, and like she fights
Hell looks okay, and the thing in hell doesn't look great, but it looks okay.
but it's
Yeah.
also not any demon from actual
No,
Doom.
it's not.
It looks like a combination of several things, one of which is from New Doom, which is the Summoner. Like, it looks like it might be a Summoner from New Doom. It wields fire and seems to be made of fire, which made me think of the Archvile.
When she jumps out of the portal at the end, though, all the demons try and grab her, and it looks a little bit like the box art from the original Doom.
Not enough to actually
Not
be a
enough.
proper.
Like it was like a blink and you'll miss it kind of deal.
Also, there are coloured key
There's
cards.
coloured key cards.
We missed the coloured key
Also,
cards.
they go to level 4, even though that's not how levels in Doom are identified.
Wow, Billy!
No, but
Levels-
it's a secret level.
4, gotta tell Billy, that's the secret level.
But the weird thing about it is it takes a lot of the like lore from the original Doom film from 2005 that's not really in the games, like the sort of Sumerian language they find on the
Do they have
teleport.
Sumerian in...
Not in the original one, but it was a very similar thing, like ancient civilization had this technology before, which isn't a thing in the game.
It's
I
like
feel
someone,
like maybe it's in 2000. I feel maybe it's in Doom 3.
someone read a Neil Stevenson book but gave up halfway through.
I've just had a thought. The AI went berserk and started fucking with the humans. Was that because the Doctor changed it, or because the demons possessed the ship?
No,
It
it's
was
because the
not
writers
clear.
saw 2001 Space
Yeah.
Odyssey. That's why the robots
I mean,
Daisy,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it's just bits from other films. Just
In-
watch other films and you'll have gotten the same experience.
In Doom 3 and New Doom, obviously there's the cyber mastermind, and there's a lot of the UAC takes demons, and part of their deal with demonhood is that they kind of modify them with cybernetics and stuff.
Let me tell you this: the people who wrote the film did not know anything about Doom.
I-
Doom 2, Doom 3. They saw trailers for Doom, New Doom, and New Doom.
I think
Eternal.
there was some stuff from Doom 3 in there that I would specifically recognise as Doom 3.
Let's quote some lines from the film. How about, what are we, some kind of space marines? Or, oh no, it's our Doom annihilation. Or,
You know what this is? This is aliens, man.
This is aliens,
Yeah.
man.
And then later, I told you it was aliens, man.
Yeah.
Oh no, if we don't stop the aliens, it's gonna be Doom too. Hell on Earth.
So, in short, there was no redeeming feature of this, and Doom 2005 had that cool first-person scene.
let's talk about something better, which is the
Rayman.
Rayman cartoon.
Oh my god.
Yes.
What was the
Everybody,
name of the man who does the voice?
Billy West.
I want to kill him. in real
everybody,
life.
give me your best car.
Car.
Thanks to the cat.
Please intersplice several of the cars
I'll
from the
try.
show.
So,
And ask
The
if
worst Bostonian accent I have ever heard in my entire life.
number one, why is Rayman from Boston? Number two, why didn't Billy West bother to even practice the accent before he got in the recording booth?
Rayman is French. Let's just put that out there. I don't like it, but he's French.
Well, in the games, he
doesn't have an accent.
He has a pleasant North American dialect in
Yeah.
the game.
Probably
and it works.
does
He's
in
like,
Rayman 2,
oh,
doesn't he?"
Globox, we gotta save you. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't think he says anything in Rayman 1. Which
just
is
goes,
the main one I
"Rayman!"
play.
no, he goes
Rayman.
Yahoo!
Is it him going, yeah, though?
Yeah.
I always thought that was just
Oh,
like
yeah,
a generic
yeah,
game
it's-
No,
announcer.
that's him. That's him. He sounds fine. He sounds, to be honest, he sounds exactly what a strange floating man with a big nose and a big dick
Dick.
is expected to sound like.
We're not sure about the big dick. We
Yeah, we
just
are.
think
No.
it's a big dick.
Can I
But
give
it's
the
implied.
Can I give the background history
Yeah.
of this? So, the Rayman animated series came out in 1999. There were 4 episodes produced. There was planned to be either 13 or 26, but sources vary on that information. It was funded by the government of Canada, specifically in Quebec. It didn't do so hot, and it was cancelled after 4 episodes. The animation, probably not that bad
For the time, it's
1999,
pretty good, yeah.
but everything looks fucking weird in it. And
I
not
mean,
in a good
that's
way.
fine. It looks weird in the same way that a lot of bits of Rayman 2.
But it doesn't look cohesive. It doesn't look like Rayman 2.
No,
It
doesn't
looks
quite look
like it's unfinished, like there was still some polish left to do on
Yeah.
it, which I
It
could
looks
understand. If they
particularly
made only 4 and then they realised, shit, there's not going to be any more, they're not
Yeah.
going to put any more
You
work
know how I
into
know it's from Quebec?
Why?
Because it's arrogant.
it. You just don't like the French.
I like the French, I don't like the French Canadian.
The plot revolves around Rayman is captured in a circus, and then he escapes in the first episode, steals a car,
No.
a car, he
Thank
steals a
you.
car, and then he gets caught speeding in his car, and then for the rest of the series, which is 2 episodes, Rayman and his weird friends live in the policeman's attic to escape the police.
Yeah, and like they introduced like a circus ringleader sort of antagonist in the first episode, and I assume they'd planned to bring him back. Like, oh, he'll be a recurring antagonist. But because the show's unfinished, it's like we have this antagonist, and then we have like Razorbeard from the original games, but he's not Razorbeard. And then none of them say anything. And then Rayman escapes with his friends who are not characters from the game.
There's a character that looks kind of like Glowbox.
There's a goat-like character called Lacknack and then there's the woman and the pixie and the man whose only character trait is he complains about stuff.
I don't remember their names.
There was Lackmac, and I don't remember.
Lackmap. I think Flips was the name of the little pixie.
Yeah, maybe.
Laura was the girl.
Was it Cookie? Cookie is the name of the one that complains.
Yes, that's right, Cookie. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Grub is the name of the.
Grub
and yeah,
is-
and then
Grub
they-
is the police.
They spend the rest of the series, which is 2 episodes.
3.
Well,
He's
2.
introduced in the second
He's
episode.
introduced in 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but they
is.
spend the rest of the series evading an inept, sad policeman named Grub.
And they try to get him a girlfriend in the 4th episode, but we didn't see the resolution of that.
No.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's still on the cards, maybe.
This is exactly what I expected from a Rayman cartoon.
It wasn't a funny show.
No.
It was funny because Billy West's accent was so bad. But that was the only... Like, there weren't any good
There
jokes
weren't
in
many.
it.
Can't tell if there were intentional jokes in it. There are a few like funny comedy bit air quotes bits in the 4th episode.
Yeah, there's a bit as well where Rayman disguises himself by wearing a menu board and a teacup on his head, and then he takes off the teacup to tip his hat to the officer when he's asking for directions, and that reveals his split forehead and split hair, and the officer grab is like, "Hey, wait, you're that jalapeno I'm supposed to be changing.
Oh, also, like, there's another one where, like, he throws darts at a picture of the gang that he's now chasing, so Rayman and his crew, and later on, like, one of them in disguise is talking about games that they could play, and he says darts, and yes, that's you! I was throwing darts at you, and then that's a joke.
There's a bit where one of them gets committed to a mental
psychiatric hospital.
I forgot there's an insane asylum episode.
Yes.
The third episode.
So, I'm trying to think back to when I was 12 or 13, because 1999 I would have been 12 or 13. I would still have been watching cartoons and stuff. Would I have been entertained by...
SpongeBob was there.
I would have liked the Rayman cartoon because it was Rayman, not because it was good.
I feel like there were better cartoons by that point that were much more engaging. Like, half of Cartoon Network stuff had funnier stuff.
Hey, you can't compare the Rayman cartoon to, like, Dexter's Lab.
I can compare it to any fucking thing that was on the TV at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at video game cartoons, this is worse than all of them.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, what terrible video game cartoons
I mean, we still haven't seen Donkey Kong.
But we know
3D
that
animation.
That'll be good, that'll be great.
That's going to be
That'll be ironically good.
1999 Cartoon Network, we had Ed, Ed and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Cow and Chicken ends in 1999.
That was
Two Stupid Dogs.
Excuse me.
Two Stupid Dogs.
Mike
Never watched Two
Lou
Stupid
and
Dogs.
Og, I never watched.
Mike Lou and Og.
I don't know.
Like there were lots of cartoons that had much higher quality. That being said, talk about 3D animation. Cubits. Was it Cubits? Was that what it was?
Cubits was
Cubits.
But, like,
Cubits.
Was this on at the same time as Reboot?
Second season
I
of the
don't think
Powerpuff
Reboot
Girls. Johnny Bravo, second season.
I'm trying to think of 3D animated cartoons
I mean,
at the time.
I remember watching Reboot and being like, this looks like shit, even for the time.
Exactly.
and like the Rayman cartoon doesn't look good, but it looks like a full motion video sequence from like a comparable Rayman
Right,
game.
yeah, so Cubits.
The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest, I remember. Like, I remember that being better, but that might be like nostalgia because I've not watched Johnny Quest in decades. At
I
this
just
point.
wanted Glowbox. Is that too much to ask? Where's
I don't know what else we
Glowbox?
would have had. At the
Where's
time.
Where's Clark? Where's the other great characters? Where's Lee the Fairy?
Beast Machines Transformers.
Oh
Wars.
yes, Beast Wars.
Beast.
An actual
Beast
that's
Wars
Transformers.
was 1996. Just looking to see if there's anything else.
I see why they cancelled it at the end of the day because it has no redeeming features.
Cubics was 2001.
Wow.
That was Korean,
Excuse me. This
Yeah.
was so bizarre.
Donkey Kong Country was 1996.
This was so bizarre that I was entertained by watching it. Just by like,
I mean,
why have
but
they
would
made
I
this?
have wanted if I were a child coming home on a whatever, like a
I'm
Tuesday
not. I'm
afternoon.
not a child. I'm an irony poisoned adult, and
You
as
are.
an irony poisoned adult, it's free on YouTube, and it's worth a look in the same way that you would rubberneck like a car accident on the motorway.
Lavender Cat.
same reason that you would watch
Yeah,
The
but I
Room
would-
then at the end of the day.
No, it's nothing like The Room.
Then I mean
It's
that's
just-
the kind of irony laden shit that you watch
It's
because
not
it's a car
terrible.
crash.
It's just aggressively weird.
No.
I don't think it's aggressively weird.
It is.
I don't
It
think
is
it's aggressively
weird.
weird.
There's a
I think it's
car-
weird, but I don't think that's the aggressive part of
It
it.
isn't the sort of thing I would. If it had got 26 or even 13 episodes, I wouldn't have watched. I don't think I'd have.
No, I wouldn't have watched more
episode
than
3.
4.
I don't think I would have watched episode 3, to be honest.
I feel like it was aggressively mediocre. If you're going to say it's aggressively something, it's mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have...
It just has dream logic. An episode is laid out like a dream. We're on a train now, we have to go we need to go ask for directions. Oh, the police all wear this billboard and teacup. Oh no, I've mistakenly done this, we're being chased, I've stolen this car now. Oh, one of us has gotten trapped in the car now. We're on a train, the car is being crushed and it's going to be eaten by a
I don't think it's weird.
I will give an example of a series that I started watching out of curiosity and then ended up liking. It's very similar. Sonic Boom. I started watching because I thought this is going to be a train wreck, it's going to be shit, and it's going to be funny because it's shit. And it was just bad. And then after a couple of episodes, there were a couple that were actually quite funny in places, so I kept watching it to see if it would improve, and it did, and it was really quite funny.
Sonic Boom is trying too hard.
I really like Sonic Boom, and I find it funny, and I want another series of it.
Sonic Boom is what you'd get if you let like 4chan users write a fucking Sonic the Hedgehog TV show.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Not
It's-
nearly enough porn.
There's not nearly enough.
No, nobody's
Not
fucking. But
nearly
aside
enough.
from that,
Tails gets trolled.
Tails gets trolled.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon would do. They'd like make a sly reference to Tails.
They will,
gets
and they
trolled.
do, and this is part of the thing.
Exactly,
but I
but
don't.
that's like people will see that and they'll be like, "Haha, "There's a reference to Tails get trolled in this." I enjoy this.
I don't
now.
think they'd say that makes it good, but it at least has a redeeming feature where there is something that you can laugh at. I didn't think there was anything to actually laugh at.
No,
in
there weren't.
Rayman.
There weren't any jokes.
And I don't think it was like funny, trying to be funny in a weird way. It just wasn't trying to be anything.
In conclusion, watch the Rayman cartoon for Billy West saying "car"
Ah,
and stop after
and
that.
hair.
And other weird stuff.
And just anything in his boss.
Anything
Those
that ends
were the
in "r."
highlights. Every time he said car, we perked up. And every time anything else was happening, we just sat there.
Yeah. Shit.
Let's have one more thing before we end.
Bigger Luke theory.
Bigger Luke. Okay, fine. I'll put off Games of the Decade.
Let's not put off games of the
I'll
decade.
put up games of the decade until next decade.
I forgot we were doing games of the decade.
Look, we need Bigger
We
Luke.
can do Bigger Luke next.
Okay, let's show of hands. Do we want Bigger Luke or Games of the Decade? Raise your hand if you want Bigger Luke. Oh,
I'll have to
He's gonna veto now.
I'll have to think about games of the decade.
Does Bigger
I
Luke?
kind of
Will
want Bigger Luke.
Bigger Luke include spoilers for me?
No.
Explain Bigger Luke.
Okay, we'll do Bigger Luke. So, Bigger Luke theory is the theory that there are two Luke Skywalkers, either canonically or non-canonically, in the original Star Wars trilogy. That is, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
The evidence for this is the fact that in certain scenes, when compared with the other character Han Solo, Luke sometimes Mark Hamill or Luke.
Luke can be either.
It's
So
the
if
Luke
it's,
theory.
if it's
We'll
Mark
get onto
Hamill,
that.
it's
We'll get
called
onto
the
that.
Hamill hypothesis.
We'll get on to that. So Luke
The
sometimes
huge
appears
Hamill
about 2 centimeters shorter in some scenes than others. It's very difficult to come up with evidence for this because there's so few shots of Luke and Han Solo in sort of competing areas. You can't take a picture of just Luke on his own because you need a reference point, and that reference point is always Han Solo.
So he appears in the most scenes with Han Solo, so typically he's compared with Han Solo. There is a category of pictures that compare him to other characters called no-Han pics, also abbreviated NHP. From now on, I'll be using the correct terminology, Bigger Luke or BGL, and then there's no-Han pics, NHP.
Why is it BGL and
And
not
the
BL?
two Lukes are referred
sometimes,
to as Luke Prime and Bigger Luke.
So, can I butt in here with a potential solution to this problem? And I'm wondering if it's been raised here.
If you're gonna say perspective,
No, I'm not going to say perspective.
Go on.
I'm going to say that it is a proven fact that if you spend time in space, you get taller because your vertebrae are not affected by gravity and contract and
So is
expand.
it when
the
you
whole
grow
time.
a
Excuse
couple of
me.
centimeters in your sleep?
both of all of them are in space.
Yeah, but
all the
no,
time.
but they will
Grew
be.
up on a planet.
Yeah, but they
They're
will
all
be.
in space. The
No, no.
planet. Where is the planet?
But they
Mitch?
will be
It's
in.
not in space.
It's in space.
No.
But they will be in actual space and zero gravity environments for differing amounts of time
Also-
based on their activities during the film.
Yeah.
They grew up on separate places.
With different gravity
different
levels.
gravity levels on different planets, and they spend quite a lot of time in different situations just communicating.
But the events of A New Hope take place over like a few days. How is Luke going to grow 2 centimeters?
No, you do grow a certain amount every day because you lie down.
I've looked this up quite
And you
recently,
get
actually.
flattened.
The maximum change is 1.5 centimeters.
Oh, ho, ho!
Over the course of a
Can
day,
we please send this
Yeah.
to the Bigger
So
Luke wiki?
by the end of the day, you're usually around 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters shorter than you were when you woke up.
This
I
does
noticed
not-
this because my brother, when he wakes up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, is just about the same height as me.
The problem with this is between 2 shots within minutes of other, Luke can be seen to grow or shrink these 2 centimeters.
Hyperspace.
That's just the way they shot the movie.
It's
you know?
no.
It was shot out of order, so Luke could have been spending loads of time down on the planet in between those 2 shots.
There's 2 theories. Well, there's more than 2 theories as to why. Like, we'll split the theories here into canon and non-canon. Bigger Luke. The canon. We'll start with non-canon, and then we'll dismiss it because it's stupid. The non-canon theory is that Bigger Luke exists because there were 2 Mark Hamills during the production.
No, there was a Mark Hamill stand-in, which is reasonable because
Yes.
they can do multiple scenes per
at time.
Okay, so either a second Mark Hamill or a Mark Hamill lookalike was there, and he was slightly larger or smaller than Mark Hamill. That's the non-canon Luke theory. The canon Luke theory is a bit more complicated because there's multiple reasons why Luke may or may not have appeared bigger or smaller at different times during the plot. 1. Bigger Luke may be a Force hologram created by Luke. 2. Luke's latent powers in the Force, which are still developing, cause him to grow and shrink depending on how attuned with the Force he is.
Like a balloon.
3. The Force ghost of Luke was not created by Luke, but was created by Obi-Wan Kenobi after he died and joined the Force.
Wait, Luke doesn't have a Force.
What
ghost.
did you say?
Well, the
Luke,
Force hologram.
does Luke
The Force
switch
hologram.
places with his own hologram, and Obi-Wan is just not entirely sure how tall he is?
Yes. Yes.
Is Obi-Wan's hologram of him anatomically correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
You can't take off your clothes as a hologram, so probably not. It's just like a Ken
Yeah,
doll.
they turn you off.
There are other reasons as well that I can't remember right now. I'm listing these off the top of my head. If you've got the website,
I have
you can get more.
I have the Bigger Luke wiki here, so if you want to look this up, biggerluke.wiki.com.
I reckon our most likely explanation is the shots that were made in the film were shot at differing times when Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford had different levels of sleep.
I don't.
So
I
one
don't
of them
want
would
to
have
talk
changed
about
size.
real world reasons.
I
Millwall.
know you don't.
I want to talk about game theory.
Because,
The
people who believe in this theory, of which of course I am one, have found in-universe references to the idea that one Luke is bigger than another.
Yes.
For example,
Please give the Obi-Wan Kenobi quote.
Obi-Wan, after Luke first succeeds in his training, says, "You've taken your first steps into a larger world," which may be evidence of there being a smaller or larger Luke Skywalker. Additionally, there's another line, canon Luke again. I'm pretty sure it's Princess Leia who says it. She says, "Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?" And it's possible that it's because she's seen bigger Luke previously, and that's her first time seeing regular Luke. There is a character called Biggs.
He's a reference to the fact that
It's just a reference to the fact that there maybe... Also, there's just an animated GIF here that is Lando's reaction to
Can I
first
explain
seeing
this
Luke.
one?
Okay,
It's not him first seeing Luke. So, Lando is seen in Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back to come around a corner and also walk around a corner, and he sees Luke Skywalker and thinks nothing of it. He looks at him blank-faced, doesn't care. Slightly later on, he looks at Luke again when rounding a different corner and has a look of sheer surprise on his face, as if to say, "Weren't you 2 centimeters shorter last time I saw you?"
What I would like to know specifically is why this is the bigger Luke theory and not the
smaller
Luke,
hand
or
theory.
the littler Luke theory.
I think there was a thing about smaller hand theory, wasn't there? It was. Isn't smaller hand an alternative hypothesis?
I would like to know why it's not the littler Luke theory, purely on the basis that it's alliterative, and that makes more sense.
But number one, there are NHPs. You can compare Luke's height against things that aren't Han Solo. And number two, Luke only spends a small period of the film in bigger Luke phase. In most of the time, he's quite a bit shorter than Han Solo. But sometimes he looks like he's almost there.
Yeah, it's true. This is nothing to do with bigger Luke theory, but in old Star Wars canon, which is now expanded universe non-canon stuff, there was a character who was a clone of Luke, who was also called Luke, but his name was spelt with 2 U's. And I believe there was another clone of Luke who was a second clone of Luke, whose name was Luke with 3 U's. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember hearing this. There was an evil clone of Luke called Luke.
Is that who Obi-Wan's trying to get in contact with when he says
Probably. Yeah.
Did that one have better nutrition, so he grew slightly taller than
God.
regular Luke?
This is so
that's
funny.
EBL, even bigger Luke.
Even bigger Luke?
I'm really enjoying reading about the
Give us your
theory.
highlights.
The theory that R2D2 made a clone of Luke and is constantly teleporting Luke's into differing Luke's into situations to mitigate fatigue. But the issue with that, let me just get back to it. If R2 is indeed teleport shuffling Luke Prime with a cloned bigger Luke. Oh yes, if that was the case, why didn't R2 shuffle Luke's wounded body in the Empire Strikes Back post-Wampa attack for a healthier and likely bigger Luke?
You mean why not replace Luke?
Yeah, why not shift him out if that's the theory? to
I mean,
mitigate
in
fatigue?
fairness,
I've just come up with a
R2D2
theory.
isn't present during that scene.
Is he not?
No,
But
he's
doesn't
not.
R2D2 have to be... yeah, I guess so, you're right.
I've just come up with another theory. So it's clutching at straws a little bit. You know how Assassin's...
Sorry, did you just say this bigger Luke fan theory was clutching at straws?
No. I'm saying my theory is clutching at straws. The bigger Luke theory is solid. You know how in Assassin's Creed it goes on about like ancestral memories? I wonder if Luke Skywalker has ancestral memories from his mother, Padme Amidala, who used to have a decoy with her at all times. And actually he has surrounded himself with a bigger Luke to in case he did get attacked by the Empire, so they think he's dead and then he can get away with it.
You know what, Specs?
That's got legs.
It sounds reasonable to me.
Can we send this to the bigger Luke people?
So the 2U Luke Skywalker was a genetic clone of the Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, grown from cells extracted from the hand he lost during his duel with Dark Lord Vader.
Where did the hand go? Do you think the hand fell down?
They
one of
never
those tubes?
explain where the hand went. They actually, sorry, I say that.
Forever.
They are currently explaining in the comics where the hand and the lightsaber went.
Oh god!
Like the last issue is someone catching
the hand.
either the lightsaber or the hand and the lightsaber as it falls in Cloud
Imagine
City.
catching just a hand.
But they haven't revealed who the person is.
In canon, doesn't Nas Kanata from...
She has it, but it's not explained how she has
She says
it.
that's a story for another day.
And then it's never
After I
explained.
explain bigger Luke theory.
She won't explain Bigger Luke theory. She'll never explain Bigger
It's
Luke
just
theory.
really fun reading about the theories.
This
around
isn't
R2.
Luke's hand. This is bigger Luke's hand.
The force projection thing can't be canon
Why not?
because force projection kills you as demonstrated in The Last Jedi.
That's true.
Because apparently, according to the novelization, which I haven't read, but whatever. Whatever. Right, apparently he knows it's going to kill him when he does it.
Do you think that there's a bigger Luke in the sequel trilogies as well?
Yeah, no, I was going to get onto this,
Potentially.
because people have compared the height of Luke and R2D2 in posters for the original and sequel trilogy, and Luke is way bigger in the sequel trilogy. I don't mean like wider. I mean he's way taller.
I mean, he might just have grown up a little bit.
No,
I mean, he's still only like 19 to 21.
I
during
think the sequel
events
trilogy
of-
Luke is 100% bigger Luke.
What,
I'm
do
not
we get
sure.
for regular-
I mean, I think it's
Is that why
difficult
he
to
acts out
say.
of character?
I think they'll bring back
Yeah,
because
that's a good point.
I haven't actually seen the films or know anything about them, but I'm pretty sure they killed off regular Luke, so
Maybe-
they didn't have to pay Mark Hamill.
maybe-
So they'll bring back regular Luke, and then someone will say, "Hey, regular Luke, aren't you dead?" And he'll say, "No, that was bigger Luke." And people will go,
I'm
"Oh
Luke
well, it was
Prime."
bad, but at least he wasn't like a clone or something."
No, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
I was going to make a terrible pun a little while ago when we were talking about Luke's hand being ripped off, but it doesn't matter
Go
anymore.
on, give me the pun as at the end of the episode. Give me the pun.
Okay, well, I was thinking it's cold in space, right?
Yeah.
And the hand fell down a shaft into not exactly space, but upper atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be cold there. So that was a cool Luke hand.
Oh, I like it.
I have another theory.
Cool hand
get it.
Luke.
To
Cool
explain-
Luke hand.
I don't,
Cool,
I get it.
Cool hand Luke.
Cool hand Luke.
I don't get it.
What?
It's
You
a-
wouldn't.
it's
Cool hand Luke is a thing.
It's a film.
That's a film. It's
Oh.
Cool hand Luke.
So you're saying...
There
so
was
you're
another.
saying,
There was
so-
another film
so-
called Bigger Cool Luke.
So, because it would be colder, it wouldn't be lukewarm.
You see, that's the pun I was looking for.
Yeah.
But you didn't get it.
There's some weird cool hand Luke.
Cool hand Luke.
Go on, I got it. I got it. I give
Why
you
did
the
you do
joke.
that?
Moogle Pies appreciates. my-
I do. This time.
If you're listening to this, you can stop now.
Why are you listening to
Congratulations.
this? Get on with your life and do something productive that isn't
Check
listening
us
to this
out
shit.
at lunchtime.org.uk.
Who ruined my picture by making her older? Unacceptable.
How old did they make her?
113.
Outrageous. You should have rubbed off the 3. You fool.
Delete this part.
Delete this.
I do
Also, delete this one.
Delete the podcast.
That's right. Rock me, baby. Baby.
That was a lot. I feel like
Yeah,
we
we-
may have talked about too many things for one podcast.
Yeah, we
It doesn't
not only
matter.
did we talk about too many things, but
We always
talked about
do.
all of them for too long, and I should have brought my bell that I ring when I'm.
Bigger Luke was the only real fucking
But
time.
I loved Bigger.
I
I
Luke.
also
enjoyed
enjoyed
Bigger
Bigger
Luke
Luke.
very much.
I did enjoy watching Mitch steadily break down during the course of the conversation, much as he did when we were playing Catan
I would
as
have
well.
reacted
You
much
got so-
better to it
you-
than
you missed-
Games of the Day.
You missed board games day where we played Catan and he wouldn't stop talking about Bigger
I
Luke.
kept trying to tell
and
Catsman
Mitch,
about
Mitch
Bigger
was
Luke.
really
Mitch
upset. Gets more and
Mitch
more
didn't
upset.
say anything at
I
the
had
time.
to go. So
You did,
But
yeah.
at the end of the game, when he left, he said it would have fucking taken a lot less time if he hadn't kept talking about Bigger fucking Luke. Like he hadn't protested at all, and then
I
just
love him.
exploded at
Because
the
if
end.
I would have,
sitting there-
said anything about it, he would have done it on purpose.
We were not only were we talking about Bigger Luke, we were missing picking up our resources, and we were wasting time. And he was there silently fuming, like, "Shut up about Bigger Luke."
God.
Oh, we love him.
But look, we got to have a system now. We can go back to.
we
I
won't.
need to know more.
It'll reappear again.
I need to know
There's
more
not
about Luke
enough.
and Luke.
Bigger Luke theory is great.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
do you get taller or shorter and you go to sleep?
Taller.
Taller.
You get taller and you go to sleep.
I'll
So
have
when we get up tomorrow,
You'll be Bigger Luke.
I get it.
Oh, it's funny, that.
you'll have a very small window of opportunity to do that.
Who the fuck
become
thought
normal
it was a
size.
good
I think
idea
I
to
have
have
some
two
tapes somewhere.
characters called Luke spelt with two U's and Luke spelled with three U's that were Luke.
I mean, I
spelled
One
with
of the
one.
reasons, and I'll go through this now, is there was precedent because I know this because I had the comics growing up of the Thrawn books. Thrawn has a clone of another Jedi called Jorus Kaboath, and his clone is Jorus Kaboath with two U's.
And Thrawn is canon, but not that.
Thrawn is canon, but we don't know if those Thrawn books are canon. It's not clear. Probably not, though, is the
He's
answer.
that blue guy. Isn't
He's the blue guy with red eyes.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
He's
when-
a tactical genius, by the way, strategic genius.
Before Star Wars fever and everyone making new Star Wars films and stuff.
There was always Star Wars fever.
But no, like between the prequels coming out and the original series ending, people on Usenet didn't have anything to do, so they were just like,
I mean,
There's a
it
lot of
started quite early. And one of the
You
reasons it
love
started
that.
quite early is, and I've been reading the history of Star Wars recently.
What is it?
When Lucas,
Still reading about Bigger Luke.
go to keep going.
Read it.
When Lucas started making Star Wars films, he didn't know if he actually wanted to make a sequel. So what he did is he made his first script of Star Wars and then got Alan Dean Foster, who he got to write the novelization of the first book, to write 2 extra scripts to go after it that were going to be for lower budget films. So those were the first extra Star Wars The Expanded Universe books that were going to be filmed. So Splinter of the Mind's Eye is the first one, and that is... on like it's a single planet, it's a jungle thing with just Luke and Leia and Darth Vader and a couple of Imperials, and that's kind of it. And he reuses some ideas like a Kyber crystal, which never really shows up again, so whatever. And then there was another one that he made which didn't go anywhere else. And then he decided, holy shit, this made so much fucking money, I'm going to make more of this. Then he made Empire and Return to the Jedi after that. But that's where it started, because he booked Alan Dean Foster in to do 3 separate books. And that's where it all started, and that's why it makes no fucking sense.
good.
Shiny, what was the thing that just made you?
I was just reading about that. So there's theories of different people who potentially are the responsible ones for cloning Luke. So this one was Owen Lars cloned Luke.
Yeah,
Possible.
there is a theory that it's
So
actually
the-
a clone and not just a force
One of the
project.
earliest theories is that Uncle Owen cloned Luke to help work around the magic farm. It's hypothesised that this clone of Luke is slightly larger due to the simple fact that he is somewhat more robust. A practical gene modification made during the cloning process to make him a more effective farmhand. It can be deduced that a more elaborate and theoretically more effectual modification to Luke was deemed too risky. In addition, an overtly muscled Luke, a Luke Hulk, if you will, would be quite unsightly. In addition to undermining plausible deniability that there's a second Luke. So they couldn't make Hulk Luke.
Oh, so it was like,
Otherwise
we
you
need a
would
bigger
definitely-
Luke to do farm work, but we can't make him too big or people will notice.
People get suspicious. And Luke always just sees himself and goes, This mirror's a bit off. I look a bit taller here. Gained a couple of inches.
They angle his mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, clever.
So funny.
Wait, so they have to make sure the clone doesn't meet the original.
No,
Luke.
Luke sees himself and he just thinks it's a mirror.
I think.
He's a bit dim.
I feel like this is untapped potential for a Star Wars film.
Do you think Bigger Luke knows about Luke?
Yes, but Luke doesn't know about Bigger Luke.
Do you think Bigger Luke is a puppet master?
Bigger Luke is like an entirely different
Are
person.
we still recording?
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so. This
Yes.
needs to go in somewhere.
Just as the addendum, if anyone listens to the end of the fucking after
Honestly, I'm cutting like 50% of all the non-Bigger Luke content out, so
Jesus.
Bigger Luke
Actually,
can stay.
So you said like one of them knows about the other. The R2 theory says that he's transferring consciousness as well, because in 91 comic Dark Empire was released, portrayed a reborn Emperor Palpatine with consciousness transferred into a cloned body. So the theory is
What a
that if
silly
it's
idea.
constantly shuffling Luke's from one to another, it's also shuffling the consciousness, and they also have like a motor sync. So that the Link who's in the Luke that's in storage is doing the same physical movements to limit the like jarring effect when the teleportation happens.
After the consciousness is transplanted, is there still like a leftover body in like a cupboard somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like
So you
Luke,
store one so that it can recover.
Luke goes into like the pantry, and then then you see Luke come out of a different door.
Hold on. So, what happened when Darth Vader cuts off Luke's hand? Do they cut off the clone's hand as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you not watched, what film is it? The Prestige.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's the Prestige, but
the
with
Prestige.
different sized Luke.
How is R2 transferring? Because R2 doesn't have any wireless. He's got that thing that he sticks.
So-
Does he stick that up Luke's
He's got
bum?
no wireless capabilities, so, I mean, not these demonstrated.
If R2 is indeed teleport shuffling Luke Prime with cloned Bigger Luke, this would imply R2 has access to technology far beyond that of the rest of the galaxy.
He does have a little satellite dish.
I mean, on the plus side, he's one of the, he's the only one who's been in every single film who's still alive.
Yeah.
That's true. And 3PO?
3PO.
R2-D2 wasn't in the last two sequel films, was he?
He's
sorry?
in the background.
R2?
R2-D2's been in every single film.
Really?
Every single film.
Is he just like Jon
Nancy
Snow's
Cooper.
dog at the end of
Yes.
Game
What
of
about
Thrones?
C3PO?
They CG him into scenes later when they realise they've
So-
forgotten him.
So the theory is that R2 is like advanced because he's a G. He has established a cloning teleportation facility somewhere in the Star Wars galaxy, possibly and probably
Camino.
during the 19-year time span between episodes 3 and 4. So here are some of the hypothesized locations for the alleged facility.
Camino.
The Junland Wastes.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good one.
If one recalls, upon crash landing on Tatooine, R2-D2 makes his way in the direction of Junland Waste, just like going straight.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he hides behind a rock.
He does.
How does he manage to maintain communication with the facility at long ranges?
How does R2-D2 get behind the rock that he obviously couldn't fit behind? I'll tell you, there was already an R2-D2 on the planet, and he simply...
He's a smaller R2-D2
He's
that
a
can
smaller
hide behind the
R2-D2 that can climb, can go behind the rock. So the original R2-D2 ducked behind a different rock earlier on, and the smaller R2-D2 came out, and the smaller R2-D2 then ducked behind a second rock. And then...
Obi-Wan's in on it.
It's 1:25, I think. I can't talk about Bigger Luke anymore.
Let's...
I could talk about Bigger Luke for the rest of my fucking life, mate. This is great.
I'm going to push the stop button.